Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Adiola Olubamiji, and I'm very, very happy that the time has come for us to start this live session. We will wait for a couple of minutes for a couple of people to join, and we'll get straight right into it. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good day wherever you are dialing in from. My name is Dr. Adiola Olubamiji, and I am so excited to have you guys join us today. A couple of days ago, I decided to share my anniversary about how I relocated to Canada a couple of years ago. I shared it on my timeline on Facebook and Instagram, and I decided to kind of come on Twitter for the first time in a long time. And to my surprise, the story inspired thousands of you. I wouldn't even just say 1,000. My story on Instagram had over 800,000 impressions. Aren't you guys awesome? I'm so thankful for the love. I'm so thankful for you guys' how you receive the content. So I have decided that on my quarantine with Dr. Addy's show, so because of the lockdown issue that we have here in the US where I'm currently located, I decided to start to kind of chill with you guys every Friday and talk about different things. And since that information received a lot of love. So today we'll be talking about my journey to Canada. Not really. I mean, what are the pathways for people who want to relocate to Canada? And also kind of help you understand what should you know and what is your best option if you're thinking of relocating to Canada. Before we get started, I, Adiola Olubamiji, solemnly swear that I'm not a certified immigration consultant, that I am expressing my freedom of speech, and I am doing this to help more Africans get to Canada. All right, since I have sworn, I hope no immigration consultant will come from my head, right? So let's get started. And I have slides because I'm a professor, right? So I try to put visuals up to make it easy for people to follow. A little bit about myself. I am Dr. Adiola Olubamiji. I currently am located in Columbus, Indiana. I work for a Fortune 500 company, and I am a Canadian. About 2 years ago, the hustle continued from Nigeria to Finland. We moved to Canada, and I currently live in the US. Yes, I'm a Canadian citizen. I have hustled my way around the world. And this is why I think I am the right person to talk about this, because of the different paths that I have passed through. And all of my different immigration stuff, I have not had to pay any immigration consultant. So I feel like for poor people like myself, there is DIY. You can do it yourself. So help us God. Let's now get started. I'm going to go to my next slide, guys. Can you see my slides, guys? Can you see my slides? If you can see my slides, I want you to let me know that you can see it so I can really know that you've seen it, because I'm going to be going through the slides. Can you see the slides? Can you see this? Can you see the slides? I haven't seen that anyone can see the slides. All right, great. So let's get started. So if you have to come to Canada, there are 6 paths or 6 different ways where people feel like I'm ready to go to Canada. So I'm going to talk through the 6 different paths that is possible for anyone who is willing to migrate to Canada. The first one is the permanent residence route. This is the common one because it affords you the opportunity to migrate from anywhere around the world if you are a foreign trained professional. So we have different streams under the express and under the permanent resident program. We have the express entry stream, we have the provincial nominee stream, we have rural and northern pilot program stream, Atlantic immigration stream. They recently came up with agri-food pilot program. Quebec, which is our French-speaking province, also have their own stream. So there's so many different streams: family sponsorship, startup visa, caregiver. So that's all under permanent residence. Anyone migrating to Canada under that stream will get a permanent residence. And after 3 years of living in Canada and filing their taxes, they will be naturalized and become Canadian citizen. If you're watching me and you know that somebody can benefit from this on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, I want you to take snapshots. Please, I want you to share it on your page. I want you to tweet it out so that people can know we have started. And please, I want you to tweet it out so that we can get more people coming in and learning and really maximizing these 2 hours that we want to spend together today. So the second route is the study route. So a lot of times when people evaluate some conditions, maybe finances or the fact that they don't meet the different permanent residence route requirement, you may use the option of study. So you may decide that you want to go study in Canada, and this is a temporary route to come into Canada, but it affords you the opportunity to get Canadian education and possibly Canadian work experience. And it is also possible for you to change that profile from the temporary profile to the permanent residence kind of profile. The third method that has been used a whole lot lately is the refugee asylum path. So a lot of times people migrate to Canada by coming irregularly to Canadian border, and they raise up their hands and they'll tell you different stories about horrific stuff happening where they're coming from. And Canada allows them to come into this country and help them settle down, give them places to stay, take care of them until they're able to go to their immigration hearing, and maybe they will retain them or probably send them back to the country. The second type of immigration under the refugee and asylum one is people come inside Canada, maybe their visa expire, and then when their visa expire, they will just say, hey, I'm not going back. I want to claim asylum. Maybe there's war happening in their country or some other things going on. The fourth route that is possible is the visitor's visa. A lot of times people just want to come to Canada, not because they want to live here, but they want to experience what is Canada like. They want to learn about the place, or sometimes maybe you're passing through provincial nominee program for Manitoba or some places. They require that you come to Canada first to be interviewed before you now relocate as a permanent resident. So that falls under the visitors area where there is, you can do that. Also, for people who have EU passports, they may need to come to Canada to visit. They have to take what we call the ETA if they're coming to visit in Canada. We also have the super visa under this category. So if you are a permanent resident of Canada or you are a citizen, you can invite your parents from anywhere around the world. They get 10 years visa if they are super visa holders, and they can stay for 2 years at a time, which is great. So a lot of people who have new kids bring their parents to Canada under that super visa category to be able to have them take care of the kids for. I know that some people want to call me as we're talking here. Please don't call me right now, because if you call me now, you're going to interrupt the session. We have over 700 people on this session. Let's try to respect people. Please don't call right now. Thank you. So temporary visa is another route. There's so many different routes on that temporary visa. I'm not going to go through that because that's not really why we're here, right? Citizenship. So for people who comes to Canada to give birth to their children, it's called birth tourism. When you give birth to your children in Canada, they automatically become Canadian. After spending 3 years in Canada as a permanent resident, you become a Canadian citizen through naturalization. If you have a kid as a Canadian citizen, whether you give birth to them in Canada or outside Canada, those children also would be naturalized and become Canadian citizens. So those are the different routes for anyone thinking, I want to know the pathways to relocate to Canada. Those are the 6 pathways. And now let's get into what we need to learn today. So before we get into that, I want to give us a little bit of prep. We're going to be using some keywords, and those keywords, can you guys still see me? Can you hear me? I want to know. Can you hear me? So we're going to be using some keywords, and I have a few of those keywords that I want to explain before we bring our first guest. So give me some time. Let me find the slides. All right. Can you see the slide? So one of the key words that you're going to hear a lot today is NOC, National Occupation Classification. So Adiola, if you are on here, so Adiola is my manager. Adiola, I want you to pin the title of today's episode. Please pin it to the page so that people can kind of see what the title is. All right, so National Occupation Classification. So you're going to hear a lot about NOC today. So we're concentrating on 3 NOCs if you're thinking of migrating under the permanent residence route. We're going to be talking about NOC O, NOC A, and NOC B. So if you can see the slide, so I'm explaining here what those three different NOC means, and there are other NOCs, right? But those other NOCs, we are not going to be dealing with them today because they are not going to help you to be eligible under the permanent residence route. So NOC A is really focusing on occupations that require university education. So if you have a university degree or you have a master's or a PhD, most of the work experience that you have are classified under NOC A. If you have a diploma or a certificate or technical school degree or diploma or license, your kind of job are categorized under the NOCB structure. So all the kind of occupations that you may be eligible to do in Africa or wherever you're watching from is categorized under NOCB. So if you are in managerial positions, your own jobs are categorized under the management occupation NOC 0. So you'll be hearing a lot about that today. So keep it in mind. And I want you to start to think through, what NOC do I fall into? Am I under NOC 0 or A or B? I want you to ask yourself that question. So I'm moving on to the next slide. So today you're going to also hear a lot about CLB, Canadian Language Benchmark. So if you take IELTS exam or CELPIP exam, this is categorized into Canadian Language Benchmark. For most of the applications that you do in the express entry stream, you have to have a minimum of CLB 7. So on my page right now, I want you to look at what is CLB 7, which means you have 6 in your reading, you have 6 in your writing, you have 6 in listening, and you have 6 in speaking. So if you fall into that category, that's the minimum required for express entry, right? But you want to be in NOC 9 and CLB 9. So I want you to probably take a snapshot of this so that you'll be able to go back and remember what a CLB 9 means, what a CLB 7 means, what a CLB 10 means. If you're on here today, you have taken IELTS. Now I want you to do a rough calculation to know what's your CLB. So I want you to jot down what your CLB means. Can you tell me on here what your CLB range is if you have taken IELTS, so we can kind of know what type of programs will be suitable for you today? What other thing do I have here? So I have on here something on ECA. So education credential assessment. So if you go to school in other places, maybe you're coming in because you didn't go to school in Canada, which is pretty much the situation of most people. You are coming in from Nigeria, Ghana, Botswana, or India, wherever you're coming in from, because you didn't go to school in Canada, you need to regularize your degree. Canada needs to be able to confirm your degree and say that your degree is equivalent to exactly the same degree in Canada. So I want you to take note of that. So if you're thinking about, I want to participate on that express entry, ECA is something you must do. So you need to be able to do your ECA report. And here are some designated organizations that you can do the ECA report at. So there is the CES, there is the ICAS, there is WEST. So you need to use one of these different ECA organizations approved by IRCC for that. And I want you to remember that if you are in regularized field, like you're a medical doctor, you are a pharmacist, you guys have different paths for doing that. And we have the Medical Council of Canada looking after medical doctors. Pharmacy Examination Board of Canada will be looking after your pharmacy education. So if you're a pharmacist or a doctor, do not send your certificates to West, send it to the right places for you to get your stuff there and get your degree regularized. All right, so that's the basics. That's the basics of what we want to cover today. And we are waiting to invite Joy. So the next thing we want to talk about after you guys have, I want you to digest the basics. Before I move on to invite Joy, we will get to that. Somebody's asking radiographers. So I haven't talked about that. Apart from this ECA, if you have ECA and you are in fields like engineering, depending on the province you are going to, whoever is calling, please, I beg you, stop calling. This is not the time to be calling. We are trying to be serious and get people the information they need to come to Canada. So if you are engineers, architects, different professions that are regularized or regulated, each province in Canada have different bodies, different regulatory bodies that you need to submit your certificates to or to get regularized. I don't have that on this because it varies from province to province. I'm an engineer and I have submitted, I'm a professional engineer of Saskatchewan. So APEX, Association of Professional Engineers and Geophysicists of Saskatchewan, this is the body that helps engineers, foreign engineers, get a thumbs up that, okay, your credential as an engineer or a geophysicist is equal to the same credential in Canada. So that is APEX for Saskatchewan, APEGA for Alberta, PEO for Ontario. So from province to province, who will approve or endorse your certificate may vary. I hope you're following. So but for ECA, you may not need, if you're going under express entry, you may not need to go through APEX and all that. You just need ECA certificate first. All right. So let's move on. And it's now 12:15. So the plan is at 12:15, we are going to invite our first guest today. Her name is Joy Osesua. She's referred to as Mrs. O on Instagram. She is a powerful woman who has continued to share her knowledge, tremendous knowledge, with our audience about how she migrated to Canada as a student and converted a student entry into the permanent residence kind of stream. So I'm going to try to invite Joy to come in and we will get started. So give me 1 second. Let me invite Mrs. O on. Is everyone enjoying this so far? Like I said, please share this on your profile. Take a snapshot, share it on your profile, and let other people benefit from this. We are doing this for free. We are not charging you anything. I feel like you can also bless someone by sharing this with them so they can also get blessed in return for free. I believe that everything that God has given to us is for a reason, right? I am giving this to you freely. Do not be, please, do not be selfish with your timeline. Get somebody access to this live so they can be blessed. We are waiting for Mrs. O to accept and connect. All right.
Can you hear me?
Hello? I can hear you. I can't see you yet, though. Hello? Are you here? Hello? Hello? We are waiting on Mrs. O to come on board and we will talk about the student routes, the different options available for you if you want to come to Canada to go to school. And if you also want to apply for your visa when you get your student admission, what are the criteria or what should you keep in mind? Some good tips for you. Mrs. O, we're waiting for you. I will try to do it again.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Can you see me?
No, I can't.
Okay, I don't know what's happening.
Do you want to send invitation yourself?
No, I think you have to disable the screen you're sharing.
Okay, hold on. This is gonna be hard. Hold on. Guys, sorry. I'm not really tech savvy like that. We're just learning these things. How do you disable it? Sorry, guys. So how do I disable my, if I don't want to share my screen anymore? Oh, God. Just give me a second. Let's try to figure this out.
So can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I don't know how to disable this.
Okay, I think we can carry on like that because I think you have to disable it before I can show, but I don't mind.
I do mind. I want people to see your beautiful face.
So except you want to end the live show and go up again.
I don't want to end it. Okay, hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, now I found it. Are you there now?
Oh yeah.
I can see you.
Not yet. Okay, I'm coming. Okay, just let me send in a request again.
Yes, please. You need to go off and send in another request. Okay. Mrs. O,
Yeah. Okay,
you need to be the one to send the request, not me. Let me cancel this. Mrs. O, send the request. Be the one to send me the request, like I did when I came to your show, and then I will accept. Hello, I'm waiting on her. God. Sorry, guys. Just give us a few more minutes. Mrs. O, please send the request to me, and then I will accept. I sent request. Okay, view. Oh, I don't see her here. Go live with Mrs. O. Yes, this woman. Hard. Finally. Oh God. Hello, beautiful.
Oh my goodness. I'm sweating, and you can imagine just to do this. Oh my goodness.
We are
How
very
are you
pleased to have
doing?
you on here. This is the fire woman. I call her Power Must Change Hands. People, welcome with me. The Power Must Change Hands. Fantastic, Mrs. O. And Mrs. O is, you're going to have to tell us a bit about yourself. And we wasted, I think, about 10 minutes figuring this out. So introduce yourself and let's jump right into it. Do you want me to project your slide or not?
Oh no, I think it's fine because I saw a lot of them complaining that it's not clear enough. So if they want to see that slide, they can check on our post later on.
Okay.
So yeah, my name is Joy Chukwu Osazwa. So I like to call myself Mrs. O. I think it's easier and sweeter, right? So I'm a PhD student here. So I'm a lecturer back in Nigeria, and then I took a study leave to come study in Canada. So I'm running my doctorate degree at the Memorial University of Newfoundland in St. John's, Newfoundland. So based from my experience, right, I got so passionate about the movement that I'm pushing on now. So basically what I do is to promote DIY, for people who want to come to Canada to study or to relocate, to reside permanently in Canada, but are not able to afford the services of an immigration lawyer, consultant, agent, whatever you want to call it. I am not against you using the immigration consultants, but then we know how much their fees are, and we know some of us from Nigeria cannot afford this, and even from so many other countries. So that is why I'm doing this. When I was going through my own process, I didn't get someone doing this for me. So I didn't have any information. I have to search. In fact, the whole process is confusing. There are a lot of information online. You don't even know what to take and what not to take. So here I am. Thanks to Dr. Addy for giving me this platform to share with you how you can successfully come to Canada to study and also to transition into your permanent residency when you're done. So I'm going to start with choosing the right program of study. So it's very important that you choose the program of study, that is going to make you eligible for a postgraduate work permit. So a postgraduate work permit is the link you have to transition from a study visa into permanent residency. So when you come here to study and then you don't get your postgraduate work permit, bottom line, you're going back. So you have to pick a program that makes you eligible to get the postgraduate work permit. So there are some programs that do not make you eligible, especially programs that are not up to 2 years. So you have to, know the duration of the program that you're taking. There are also some eligibilities. I posted them, so I'll just go through them quickly. Like if you're coming to study English or French as a second language, that is like a certificate course, so you're not eligible for the postgraduate work permit. Or if you're coming in to take a general interest or self-improvement course, you're not eligible. So there are so many other courses. I can't go through all of them. So it's very important for you to know that you have universities and institutions in Canada. So you're coming to the universities. Are you coming to do a degree program or a diploma or a certificate course? So any course you're coming to do, if your plan is to study and reside in Canada, any course you're here to do must be up to 2 years so that you can at least get a work permit of, say, 3 years, a postgraduate work permit of 3 years, which gives you enough time, to transition into the permanent residency. But if you get courses that are less than, or programs that are less than 1 year, you get a postgraduate work permit of 1 year. In fact, if you get a course of 8 months, you get a postgraduate work permit of 8 months. And that 8 months is very little window period for you to transition. So very important. If your plan is to relocate to Canada, if your plan is to come study in Canada and reside, it is important for you to pick a course or a program that will allow you time or that will make you eligible to get the postgraduate work permit so you can easily transition. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the applying, because a lot of people ask, we have third class, we have 2-2, we have 2-1. Can we apply? What can we come to do in Canada?
Excellent.
So, yeah, so if you have third class or you have tutu or whatever you have, there are no restrictions. There are no restrictions. You can go straight up and say, oh, I want to do my master's or whatever you want to do. But it's important for you to have it at the back of your mind that these admissions are competitive. It's not just for you. The space is not just for you. So it's like a pool, just the way you get into the CRS pool. And then we start to filter people that have the highest score. So you are with third class and you want to get into the pool for master's or for PhD in Canada. So what are your chances? So common sense. It makes sense for you to drop down. You can say, okay, let me go to postgraduate diplomas. You can say, oh, let me go to course-based masters like the MEng, you know, and every other course. Those ones are not so competitive. And then you have more chances of getting, you know, yourself an admission. Also, for those of you that say, oh, I have a huge gap, maybe you studied and you graduated like since 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and you're wondering, are they going to give me admission? Even if I get the admission, will they give me visa? Or most of you who are mothers like myself, I have 3 kids. So some of you are saying, we have 5 children. Are they going to accept us? It's important for you to know that you can apply to the school as a matured student, right? So if you come in through that route, so they already know your condition and then they are taking you in as such. So it's important for you to make it open to them that I'm coming in as a matured student. So you have extra benefits, or rather, should I say, some things will be relaxed for you. So it's going to make your study here very convenient. So some of you asking about...
I want to, before you go on, I want to touch a bit about the matured student route, because oftentimes a lot of people want to go back to school are people that they have tried to get into the pool. Their CRS score is low, and they're in their 40s or early 45 or 50s, you know, approaching 50. If you fall in that category, your CRS score may be low. So you have option. You can be a matured student and come with your family to Canada. When she finishes, I'm going to touch on that a bit. Or you can go and look at PNP. Some of the PNPs that still allows a good bandwidth of, it's after 50 that you get 0. Less than 50, you still get some points. So take note of that. I get a lot of matured students or matured people writing to me and talking about their dilemmas. So this could be useful for you. There is the matured student route that you can consider, talk to the school, and they will relapse some of those criteria for you. You can continue. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So something else I want to touch about, you know, the scholarships. So we talk about a lot of there are a lot of scholarships out there. If you go and type in Google, search for scholarships for women in science, scholarships for developing countries, you're going to see a whole lot of scholarships. But since the focus is coming to Canada to study and reside, it's important for you to look at the scholarships you are accepting. There are a lot of scholarships that doesn't make you eligible, you know, to get the postgraduate work permit. I'm going to mention one very popular scholarship in Canada. A lot of you come into Canada and then you just accept the scholarships. You don't read the terms and the condition. And then when you're done, you apply for your postgraduate work permit and then they tell you, oh, go back to your home country, because that is what you've signed. So the Canada that is the scholarship that is awarded by the government of Canada, funded by the Global Affairs Canada. So there are scholarships that are funded by the Global Affairs Canada. Those kind of scholarships does not make you eligible for the postgraduate work permit. So you have to be careful with what kind of scholarships you are accepting. And then some people get scholarships back from home in Nigeria. Look at the terms and conditions. It's very important. Even scholarships from Nigeria, if you sign that you're going to return back after your studies, of course you have to return, because when it gets to the immigration office, they're going to do a background check, and if you have signed that scholarship, sorry, you cannot have the postgraduate work permit. That means you have to return back. So that is that on scholarship. I'm trying to finish up everything I have. I hope I'm able to finish it. You
have some time.
Okay. So something else I would like to talk about is how to go about securing your admission. So now you know you've looked at all the programs and all the courses and you've decided that, okay, this is what I want to do in this particular school. What is the first thing you have to do to be able to secure? Like I said earlier, these admissions are competitive. It's not just you in the pool waiting to be accepted. You have people with first class, 2-1 from US, from China, from India, all over the world. So how do you stand a chance to get into the school? So I like to tell people first to if I see a school that I want to, get into, the first thing I'm going to do is to go to even before I start to apply, I don't just go straight up, fill out the application form. No, I like to establish a communication with whoever that is in charge of the international office, because every school in Canada has their international office. So the work of that office is to help international students, get into the school. So you send an email to whoever that is in charge, the coordinator or whatever, or you can go to the department you're aiming to get into, and send an email to the admission officer, or maybe to the graduate officer if it's a graduate program, whoever. But there should be someone there who you can reach out to and tell them, oh, I came across your school, I've done my research, and I want to get into the school. I would love for you to give me any resource that will be useful to me. That is it. In Canada, people respect emails a lot. So if you send that email, give it a day or two, you're going to get loads of emails with a lot of information. Emails of people you are supposed to, send mails to, numbers of people to contact. You're going to get a lot of information. And always remember to go back and say, oh, thank you, I got your mail, and I'm going to work, based on your email. I hope to resume soon in your school. Let there be a communication, because you're going to need it for your visa. I'll get to that point.
There are some questions already being dropped.
Okay.
If you permit me, I want to ask one that is burning on my mind, or two. The first one is, somebody asked here, what are my chances if I hold HND? So if you can you touch a bit about, if somebody has HND, what are their options in terms of, maybe can they get scholarships? If they can't get scholarships, what type of program at least can they be looking out for? Then the next thing I want you to touch on is people who have 2-2. I'm seeing here people saying, I have second class lower, 2-2. What are my chances? What type of programs should I be targeting? Are they going to come with scholarships or not? Please, if you can, help us touch on those two. Thank you.
Okay, so I talked about that earlier. I don't know, maybe people asking the question just came on. But yeah, like I said before, people with 2-2, it could be a third class. It could, because I get a lot of questions, people saying, I have a third class, what programs am I eligible for? And then if you have HND, you can apply to come in for your postgraduate diploma. And the thing is, all these programs, it depends on the school. Some schools have scholarships for these programs and some do not have. But mostly in Canada, you find out that a lot of research-based programs, this tree here is not so clear. Otherwise, this flow chart, you would have seen it clearly.
It's clear. Oh, I can see it. Can you guys see the flow chart?
Most of them keep saying that they can't see it, that is not clear enough.
Take a snapshot and try to expand it on your screen. This is very, I want to tell you, the flow chart that she puts up for us is the best on the market. It's explicit, it's very good, and there is no way I want you to miss out on the information on this flow chart. So please take a snapshot of it, make it work, because you will see all the pathways there. Which ones leads to where? So you can use it to calculate your own trajectory around what is the best option for you. So please try to, we are going to, if with permission of the audience and the speaker, I'm going to put all the slides that I'm going to share today into a Google folder. We're going to download this video. We're going to put it on YouTube for people who didn't have data to join. And we're going to mass produce it on social media for everybody to have access to it at their own pace. You'll still get this slide, okay? Even if you don't get it right now. If our speaker allows me to share with you guys. You get it?
Yeah.
I want you to try to expand it a bit so you can really get it as she's explaining. You can keep going. Thank you.
I have it on my page, so just in case you also want to go on my page and check out this flow chart. So like I was saying, for people with 2-2 and third class, I like to advise you, for your own benefits, to go down, go for lower degree courses. We have advanced postgraduate courses and we have the lower postgraduate courses. So if you have HND, why don't you go for a postgraduate course? It could be lower or higher because you have HND. But if you have a strong score, for your HND, you can decide to go for because the thing is, they are going to assess your transcripts. They are going to look at the courses you've done and what grades you've passed these courses with. So that is based on that, they are going to make their selections. But if you have a 2-2 and then you go for something lower, at least you stand a chance, because in that pool you have people like people with that class of results. So you stand a chance to be picked, right? Did I answer your question?
Yeah,
Or am
I
I
think you're
forgetting?
okay. One thing that I want to add, if it's okay, is that a 2-2 is, it could be strong if you have a case to present. When you evaluate your entire portfolio, sometimes it's not only the grades that they evaluate. If you have other things in your portfolio that makes you a strong candidate, maybe you've done some work, maybe you took some online courses, maybe you did something. So how you present your package really matters here. So you can have a 2-2 and you have upgraded over time through taking different courses, short courses here and there. You have done some work experience that shows that this is innovative, this is really good work, and how you really present yourself. So she talked about initiating a contact with the admission officer who is responsible for the international office. If you present yourself in a way where you actually call them, you explain your situation, you send in a good package, somebody can actually give you a master's degree with a 2-2. So also with HND. In Canada, HND is not looked at as a smaller than BSc. I did a post about this a while back. HND, in fact, under the express entry stream, could give you more scores under education than a BSc. So don't feel bad about having HND. HND in Canada is not a big deal. It's like your BSc. So if you do evaluation with WES will evaluate your HND as a credible certificate. It's only in Nigeria that HND is looked down on. So I want you to kind of help yourself raise your self-esteem and ego. If you are with HND, you are good. You're good. There's nothing wrong with you. If you have strong grades in your ND and HND, and you can produce good transcripts that shows the breakdown of your courses, and they are related to the courses you are trying to work on, and you can write a very good statement of purpose, initiate relationship with the admission officers, you are good. I see a couple of questions that I want to ask one of them. So you don't have to do PGD. That's my point. And you can do PGD. So PGD is good for people who have 2-2. If you think my scores are lower or something like that, yes. But if you have HND and it's strong, don't do PGD. Go and apply for masters. You are as eligible as somebody who has a bachelor's. Now, somebody's asking about ND, that if they have ND, what would you say they do? Thank you.
Well, for ND, I would still recommend you come in for your PGD, or you go for, because ND is the lower national diploma, right? So it's just like getting a diploma, like a regular diploma here. So they will treat you as such with normal the normal diploma level that we have here. So most people that graduate from diploma here, they can go ahead to do, you know, their postgraduate diplomas, or you can go ahead to, you know, if you want to go back to do a degree course, or you can get into like the nursing school or stuff like that, because for you to get into all those schools, you need a prior degree. So you can utilize an ND, you know, for postgraduate. The bottom line is try to get into a pool that is, because of the competition, you have to get into a pool that is good enough for you to be selected. That is the bottom line. So whatever your courses are, you know your portfolio more than I do. You're the one who knows if you have a job experience, whatever you have. It's your portfolio. So just assess it and tell yourself, this is where I'm getting into. And mind you, you're competing with people all over the world, right? So you have to just put yourself in a place where you would be picked.
Great. If you permit me, I want to ask a question, and it's about people with good grades. So there are so many people on here who have first class, who have 2-1, who are from poor background like myself, who are feeling like I cannot afford to pay for PGD. I want a scholarship. Because I merit it. I have good grades. I suffered when I was in university so that I can get a good grade to have leverage. How can they make sure that they do the right things to be able to have leverage? There is another question here on IELTS and GRE or GMAT. People are asking, do Canada schools require that? When? If you don't mind. Thank you.
Okay, so I would start with those with good grades. Of course, with good grades, it's easy for you to get any scholarship whatsoever. So just go to the right link. I think, Dr. Addy, you do something about scholarships. Like you have
Yes.
a link where people can get scholarships. So you can follow Dr. Addy for that. But yeah,
Yes. And
there
then
are tons of
I,
scholarships.
yes, I
You
want
want to
to
say
add to
something?
the fact that STEM Hub Foundation is my foundation, and we regularly post scholarships for people who
Mm-hmm.
are interested. And on a yearly basis, we select 10 people with good grades who are trying to apply to Canadian schools and US schools. We coach them, so we match them with coaches. So these coaches coach them on how to make sure they put forward best applications. This year, we've had 3 people, one going to UBC, one coming to Newfoundland. So we've had one going to Saskatchewan, who went through this stream under STEM Hub, and we were able to help them. It's all free. STEM Hub Foundation is a foundation that I created for low-income people like myself who are smart. So you can watch out for that stream where you get a mentor to help you, or you can just be looking on my page and STEM Hub's page to get free. We post scholarships, we collect it from around the world, we post it out. So shoot your shot. If you have good grades, I want to touch on something, if it's okay. So for those with good grades, there are a couple of criteria you need to think about, even for anybody coming to school. Yes, apart from the fact that you want to run away to Canada, you may run away to Canada and take a course and finish and not get a job after you graduate. So
Oh
before
yeah.
you make any choice as to this is the course that I want to pick, I want you to really do a little bit research about how lucrative is that course in Canada. How does this course position me for job? How does this job position me post-graduation? So I want you to critically look at the course, not because somebody recommended it because it's easy, or everybody is doing MBA. Me too, I want to go and do MBA. If you come to Canada, everybody has MBA, there's no job. Okay, so I want you to critically look at, why should I take this course? Because you are going to suffer 2 years or so in Canada. You want to make sure that you know that if I graduate from this program, I'm going to get a job, because this is my only option when I'm looking to stay beyond my education period in Canada. So please look at how lucrative that job is. I want to touch a bit about the jobs of the future, because I'm an Industry 4.0 advocate. As you think about your graduate program, your diploma program, think about, what are the criteria for the jobs of the future? Am I going to position myself to be competitive when I finish this program? What does that mean? Are these the areas Canada or Canadian employers currently recruiting people at? Please do a little bit of research to find out that before you can go ahead and invest your time and money into that admission. Because running away to Canada is not enough. There are people who are running away to Canada who are poor in Canada, who are living in basements, right? I'm not using this to brag or anything, but there are also people who, the day they finish university, before they even convocate, they got jobs. I'm one of them. I graduated in 2016, and before I defended my thesis, I already got a job. I already moved to Ontario in the middle of recession, when Canada was suffering from oil crisis and everybody was losing job. I got a job. Yes, I hustled up for that job. I'll tell you about it next week, but I got it because I'm a 3D printing specialist, and there is shortage for that everywhere in the world. So positioning is very critical when you're trying to get admission for anything. Please don't go and do course that is already two naira or is already too common. That's one advice I want to give you. For those people who are smart, who feels like, I'm smart, I have good grades, you are like me. I feel like I'm a smart person, I've paid my dues. Any school that I'm going to in this world has to be paid for by someone. There is no way in hell that I'm paying for school. If you're like me, that you're very confident in your ability, you will have to be very strategic in looking for that scholarship. Let's talk a bit about what I mean by strategic. You have to look for, okay, what are the schools in Canada that offers the course that will give me a good return on investment when I graduate related to my program? Do you see the matrix? I've drawn a matrix around that. Once you identify those schools, you need to go and look at each of the profiles of those schools. In those schools, what department is offering those programs? Sometimes there may be 3 programs that you can do with your bachelor's in one thing. So let's say you have a bachelor's in physics. With a bachelor's in physics, you can do a master's in system engineering. You can do a master's in biomedical engineering. You can do a master's in bioinformatics. You can do a master's in data science. With 1 degree, you can do multiple masters. So don't be looking for masters in physics because you studied physics. Look at what is the trade like for what I chose. What is the tree? Draw your map as to what those trees are and select 3 courses that you feel like are very lucrative based on those trees that you've drawn, and now narrow down which school can I find these 3 courses. When you find a school, maybe you selected 5 schools. You cannot do all the schools in Canada. Go and look for schools with easy criteria. Schools that just announce funding, that they receive money. Go and look for those schools. And go and now look at which professors have those money. When you see the profiles of those professors, you need to be ready to approach them in a manner that is logical and not too sympathetic and not sounding like you are here to beg, you are here to give, you are here to take. You need to write to those professors intentionally. Find somebody. I'm a career coach. You can approach me. Let's draft you a very logical email, not more than 3 paragraphs, showcasing your skill set, what you know about this professor. Have you read their papers? Before you approach any professor, you must read at least 3 of their new papers. Papers they published 2019 and 2020, because that is the area where they currently have funding. Find those papers, read them, mark out at least 5 keywords that is associated with their research. So when you're drafting a letter to that professor, you want to be writing something about what you have read that they've done. And don't just present yourself like I'm looking for opportunity. No, this is what I can offer your research. I have read your work. This is the relationship. I've read your work, and this is what I have done in the past that is related to your work. I am looking for an opportunity to join your lab, to contribute. Nigerians oftentimes present ourselves like we want to take. You are not only taking. When you are there as a smart person, you are there to contribute and give and help enhance this person's work. So present yourself the way you are. You are a champion. You have first class. You are smart. Show it off. Don't hide it. In Canada, you need to toot your horn. In that 3 paragraphs that you're sending to that professor, toot your horn. You're a first class person. You have 5 years of experience. You have read their work. You identify with this and this. Put everything there. 3 solid paragraphs. No map. No map. If you just say hi, put their name. Hi, put doctor something. And go straight to the point. Don't be bullshitting them with God bless you, all of those Nigerian stuff. Remove those from your emails because it will sound too sympathetic. You are wondering why you're not getting replies for your email. It's too sympathetic. It looks like you're a beggar. You are not showcasing that you know that professor enough because you have not read their papers. You don't have the right keywords. You are not showcasing your goodness, what you bring to the table. You are talking like I need help. No, you are coming as a contributor. Showcase your, how good you are. That is the way to get a professor to say, yes, so how are you? There are some schools in Canada where you don't need a professor. If you have first class, schools like University of Alberta, there are a couple of schools, they don't need a professor. Computer science department, University of Saskatchewan, you don't need a professor. You need strong grades. Go on, if you are strong grade people, first class, 4 point something, go and look for those schools that does not require you to have a professor. Compete with people from China and get into Canada. Canada is looking for you, waiting for you. Those schools are looking for you. So go and look for schools that does not require professors, require high grades. Slot in your application, slot it in. I'm waiting for Nigerians with 4.90 or 5. I'm waiting for you guys to come back and tell me, doctor, it works. All right, madam, please continue. I'm so fast. I went to school now. I went to school in Canada. I have
You need to read your comments. As in, it's so funny. I'm just enjoying myself reading the comments alone. Some people are just interested to just spot. They don't even want to know. They are like, don't worry, when we get there, we'll be all right. It's so funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you touched a lot of things that I was going to say later about securing a supervisor. So I will just say what.
Still add your own because we may see things from different ways. Please, madam.
Oh yeah. So the last question, you asked 3 questions. So the third one, someone said, do we need a test of English, GRE, GMAT? So the thing is, for most schools in Canada, because Nigeria is an English speaking country. So if you're here listening to us and your country is English speaking country, you do not need the test of English, because when you're filling the form, yes, you're going to see a place where it says you should submit your test of English, but when you click down every box, you're going to see exemptions, like list of countries that are exempted. So most times those English speaking countries are always there. So don't get discouraged because you just look at it and you say, oh, I need test of English. And then for the GRE and the GMAT, I think it's based on the course, right? So I can't say if you need it or not. So it's dependent on the course. So if your course says you need it, please. There's no way around it. So I was talking to someone, and then she said she sent an email to the school to find out if they are going to make a waiver for her, you know, for the GRE. But they replied her back and said, no, we cannot make a waiver for you. But something else I know she can do, you can request to, oh, can I get a conditional offer of admission? You know, based on when I'm able to give you the GRE because of the pandemic, or just because of the pandemic, because if not for the pandemic, you can't even make that request. But now a lot of things are, you know, going, sliding and all that. So for those of you who are not able to write your GRE or your GMAT because of the pandemic, all you need to do is just to send them an email, negotiate with them. So if you have a supervisor already, and your supervisor approves of this and says, oh, go ahead, they're going to put in a word for you. So if you're sending them an email and saying, my supervisor approves you to give me a conditional offer of admission based on when I'm able to submit this. But again, you cannot use a conditional offer of admission to file in for your visa. So bottom line, you have to wait.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that is it about the test of English. So I'm going to move on, right? Like I said earlier, establishing a communication is key, right? So for scholarships, so Dr. Addy, you were talking about scholarship. The scholarship you're talking about, is it just for research-based programs? Because to the best of my knowledge, securing a supervisor or this kind of scholarships are for research-based programs. So what about those who are interested to, you know, do the course-based programs and then they want scholarship? I know those kind of scholarship are a bit scarce to come by.
Yes.
Okay, so I think it's the same, right?
You should talk about that.
Oh, right. Because it seems like you have tons of information. Okay, so the thing is, if you don't have, if you are smart, you know you're smart, yeah, like Dr. Addy said, and you feel you can, you know, break in and get an admission, most of those research-based courses are funded, and because they are funded, the embassy cannot even refuse your visa because you have a letter from inside of Canada saying that, oh, I've accepted this person, this is the amount of money I'm giving to them. The embassy will not even look at your own personal step. They will just give you the visa. But the problem is most people that get rejected are people that are coming in for course-based programs or programs that are not funded. And I don't think there's a way around it because most scholarships go for those research because scholarships are for research, right? So except maybe you're now getting scholarship for developing countries where they just want to help you and pay your school fees. And those kind of scholarship requires that you return back after your study because they are helping you so that you go back and, you know, make inputs to your country. So we have to understand these things, right? I think that is it. I can't say more about that. So I'll move on to, after you have, you know, established communication with the school, the next thing for you to do is to go right ahead and fill in your, something else. I want to drop something about getting a supervisor. So if you have done everything you can and you can't get a supervisor, I like to tell people, package your portfolio and give it to the grad officer. Tell them, keep it, anybody that comes in, give it to them. That is how I got my supervisor. I did everything. In fact, I even wrote proposal. I went to, because this is something else you can do. So if you go to the webpage of whichever professor you're aiming to work with, look at any current job that they are doing. If you're a researcher, look at any current job that they are doing. Go back home. Look for a new, maybe a new technique. Like if it's, for example, my supervisor is renowned with molecular techniques. So I just go back and I look for a very novel molecular technique that I know that man might not know, but he's looking for a student. He has told me there is no space, so, but I've gone back, made my research and designed a protocol for him and I submit it to him. The next day, the person is in your mails telling you, how did you do this? And then they are sending for you to come right away because my lab is full at the moment back in school. But if my supervisor sees someone that is like that, he's bringing the person in straight up. So these are extra things you can do, right? So go
if you permit me. So, you know, we can always use one another as ladder to climb up, right? So I have personally recommended people for University of Waterloo, where I was an adjunct for a while. I have recommended people for my professor at University of Saskatchewan, who I felt like these are good students. I have some people in academic like Dr. Rita Addy and so many other Nigerians that I feel like they're professors in Canada. So if I see a student who is qualified, I can pass your profile to them and say, please, if you are considering students, does this match something that you are working on? Why am I saying this? Some of your friends, some of your uncles, some of your cousins, they are in grad school in Canada. Some of them, they have gone to grad school in Canada and they've left grad school. They have some sort of connection with that school. They were students of. Hello everyone, sorry about the break in transmission. We reached an hour and you know what happens? Instagram called us off because we reached an hour. Welcome back all. Please join whenever you get a chance. Let's try to get back our Mrs. O and we will continue shortly. We're waiting for Mrs. O to come on in and we can continue from where we left off. Sorry about the break in transmission. I wasn't checking the time and Instagram didn't give me a heads up that this was about to end. I hope the first hour. Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you yet.
Okay, I hope we don't have a problem connecting again because I don't even know.
It said connecting.
Okay.
Are you the one that sent the invitation or I sent it?
Yeah, I sent you an invitation once I came on. So I'm going to go out again and send in another invitation. So you're going to see.
Okay, sis. Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well wherever you are joining from. We are waiting for Mrs. O to come back up. I hope we don't run into the same problem that we ran into early. Hi, madam.
Hi, can you hear me? But you can't see me, right?
Same thing. Oh, yeah. Let's disconnect and try again. Oh, I hope we don't waste another 10 minutes on this. God. People be praying, oh. Help that God will help us bring this back. Oh. Haha. Thank God. Welcome back, ma'am. And the whole thing just cut off. So some of you have left some questions, but now we've lost the questions. Sorry about that. And please, I was talking a bit about using the people you know. So a lot of these professors are familiar with your relatives or your uncles or your friends who had gone to grad school under their supervision. If you feel like what you want to work on is something that somebody you know has studied something closely, so I want you to use LinkedIn here. So let's say you follow professionals who reside in Canada on LinkedIn. On their profile, you saw that they went to this school and they studied biomedical engineering. For example, me, I graduated from U of S. I studied biomedical engineering. Some of you have read my thesis in the past, right? So maybe you're a biomaterials person or you're a medical physicist, you've read my thesis and you connected with me on LinkedIn. Now that's what you want to work on. That's what you have a path towards. You could reach out to someone like me saying, hey, I'm trying to go to University of Saskatchewan. Here is my profile. I think I have a chance, but I'm not successful. I've been trying to contact people. Mention a few professors that you have contacted who didn't respond. If your profile is something that I find intriguing, or if you're someone that I know, maybe I have read your papers, or I feel like you have integrity, I can present you to that professor. And guess what? He will reply the email because he was my professor, right? Or it's a professor that was on my committee. And if they reply the email, they could tell me I will explore the student. Or they could say, I don't have funding right now. At least you know where you stand with that it's because they don't have funding that they have not selected you. Or they would select you. So instead of just saying I've exhausted all means, if you have not used the mean that I just explained, which is not on YouTube, I want you to go and add those people on LinkedIn. Start to connect with professionals who live in Canada in your field. If you can volunteer in their organizations, go and volunteer. If they have anything, be their biggest fan on every platform. Be commenting on their work. Let them know you. Let them know you to be able to attest to your integrity. So when you go and ask for help to help you submit your profile, they've done something with you to make them feel like you're somebody that they can put their name behind his or her name. I hope that helps you if you are the smart one looking for professor to answer you. All right, Madam Emma Binu, you can continue.
Someone wants to know about the postgraduate work permit. Yeah, so about the postgraduate work permit. So if you have gotten an admission and you're resuming this fall, yes, you can resume online. It doesn't affect your postgraduate work permit because before now, DLI with distant learning program, you cannot, you're not eligible for the postgraduate work permit. But because of the pandemic, like I said earlier, a lot of things have been let, to slide like that because of the pandemic. So you can actually start from, wherever you are. It doesn't matter. So long as you end up doing like 50% here, or even if you don't do 50% here, so long as there's still the pandemic and nobody is able to travel, it's fine. They've, adjusted that regulation. So you can start your studies wherever you are and finally end up here. You still get your 3 years work permit. It doesn't affect, they count it like you've studied on campus, so don't worry about that. But I don't know if that applies to people who originally get the DLI courses, or it applies to those who are supposed to be on campus, but because of the pandemic they are now attending classes virtually. So it's important for you to send out an email and find out if it applies to you or not.
Madam,
then
we have 5 more minutes. We have 5 more minutes, and we would like you to touch on as many things as possible, especially the visa area that people usually get rejected.
Yeah. So then you apply, and when you're applying to the school, make sure you send in all your documents. So those of you that have applied to study and then you're not able to get your official transcript across, so it's important for you to know that you can actually use the unofficial copy just for now, so that they can at least make a decision on your admission. So after you secure your admission and you have your acceptance letter, the next step for you is to head straight up to the visa office and submit, or if you want to do an online application. So what are the tips I was going to share about this? Put your documents together. There is no overdose of documents. Put as much document as would explain your situation. Don't say, oh, I don't need this or I don't need that. If you have so many sponsors that are sponsoring you for that program, put all their letters, put all their statements and details. Put in yours. It doesn't matter if you have money in yours or not, as long as it's a functional account. Make sure you attach it as your proof of financial support, and make sure you fill out the immigration study permit form properly. When you fill it, make sure you send it to someone to help you go through it and make sure that you have everything. And I'm going to stress more on your cover letters. I like to call this explanatory letter, because that is all you have. I mean, you fill out forms, you do a lot of things, but you don't even see this immigration officer that is attending to your case. So how do you explain yourself? How do you justify the fact that you're going to study? It is through your cover letter or some people call it statement of interest, but I don't like to call it statement of interest because it kind of limits the things you say in the letter. It's called explanatory letter. You can write to, you can have a statement of interest, but make sure you have an explanatory letter that explains anything, any document, whatever you're doing, it should be explained there. So the thing is, you're putting the immigration officer on the same page with you, so they can think what you're thinking and know why you're applying for this. But once they can't, think about what is going on in your head when you're putting your application together, they will just dump your file, because they can't even call you and say, oh, Mrs. O, explain yourself. Why did you do this? They will just dump your file. So it's important for you to explain everything on your explanatory letter. It doesn't have to be official. Just explain yourself. Let it be something that is readable, something they can read and understand what you're saying. I'll give you a typical example. So you studied, maybe you studied English, and then you're coming here, you want to do something in science. It's okay, because nobody owns your life, right? It's your choice to decide to study something and come here to study something different. But because of the misrepresentation that maybe people from Nigeria or other Black countries get in Canada. A lot of people here from Nigeria, from Ghana, and from different countries, when they get to this place, they don't study, they go and do other things. So it's giving us a bad image. So because of that, these immigration officers, they scrutinize us very well. I've been seeing a lot of messages saying, oh, I got the visa and they rejected me. It doesn't end. I got the admission and they rejected me. So it's not about getting the admission. It's actually about securing your visa. So it's not just enough for you to get admission and then you just apply, you expect them. There are a lot of things you have to put in place. You have to be at the back of your mind.
One more minute.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know I can't exhaust everything here, but yeah, you can join my chat room session. I'm going to be talking about these things later. So it's important for you to, know that they are going to be scrutinizing your visa. You cannot leave any loopholes. You have to dot all your I's, cross all your T's, have your explanatory letter, your study visa, and I think I'll stop here for now because,
Mrs. O, you are awesome. So I want to say something. Nigerians, Africans, integrity is very important. I chose, and people rise by raising others. Mrs. O, when she approached me, Mrs. O is one of the reasons why we are having this program. She approached me to come to our program. And she told me something. She said, Dr. Addy, if somebody helped me when I was looking for admission, I would have probably gotten to Canada longer time ago, before now. But that she couldn't find the right help. She couldn't find the right information. And that challenged me that I need to do this. And when I look at her page, she's doing all this, sharing all this information. She doesn't want your money. She just feels like you two can do it. So if you are on here today, please follow her because there are so many things you can benefit from her. And I feel like, she has integrity. She shares the right information. So please follow her page so that you can keep benefiting. And Mrs. O, we are indebted to you. We are very thankful for your knowledge. And my prayer for you is that we will soon celebrate that PhD in flying colors in Jesus' name. And everything that you desire, the Lord will provide for you. We love you. We appreciate you. And we look forward to doing more things with you in the future. Thank you for your time today. Regards to your family. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. Are you still with me? And the first session with Mrs. Ho has ended. Some of you have asked me when I'm going to talk about express entry, when I'm going to talk about the provincial nominee. My next guest, her name is Omobolanle Adeyemo. She goes by Omo B. So Omo B is a very popular figure on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, she's like a relationship coach on Facebook. She relocated to Canada last year, and her journey to Canada inspired me. She went to school in the UK, and after she went to school in the UK, relocated back to Nigeria. She worked for a bit in Nigeria. Hi, sis. Good to see you. And she worked for a bit in Nigeria, and after that, she and her husband, they relocated to Canada. I have moved out of Canada then when they relocated. I now live in the US, FYI. You guys know I'm an hustler, but I'm still Canadian. So I saw them relocated, and a couple of weeks later, we're watching stuff unfold. Months later, they both got wonderful jobs. They have continued their lives in Canada. I feel like their family is one of the success stories of how you can really be determined about this, your express entry situation, and get out of wherever you are in Nigeria and really relocate. And when you relocate, that you can settle down in Canada and start a family and be happy and really stay here if you really want to stay here. Omobi, whenever you are ready, you can get started by introducing yourself if there's something I didn't cover, and you can get started with your session. How the session is going to work is we're going to try to spend 30 minutes or a little less if we can. I don't think we'll be able to finish everything today, but we want you to share everything from A to Z. How can I calculate my CRS score? How much do I need when I'm planning this? Everything that I need to know for them to also be able to replicate your success story so we can welcome more people to Canada, and not only welcome them to Canada, we can watch their family grow, we can watch them succeed, we can watch things happen for them. You are very welcome. You can get started whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'm sort of shy and I do not speak properly. I feel I write better than I speak. Anyway, I'll just try.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too. I write better than I speak.
Anyway, okay, I am Omobola Adeyemo, popularly called Omobi. And aside the stuff I do on Facebook, I counsel, I'm into relationships, I write. I am also a quantity surveyor by training or a construction manager. I studied in Federal University of Technology, Akure. I had my bachelor's degree from FUTA, and I went on to get my master's degree from Sheffield Hallam University in the UK. And people do not know this though, but I am currently on my doctorate degree in South Africa. But I try to put that out because I'm not done yet. When I'm done here, and I'm not a doctor here, I'm not saying yes, this is
We
doctor.
will put
What is
respect on your name, my sister.
you get it? So okay. Basically, by training, I'm a quantity surveyor or a cost consultant, and I came to Canada with the hopes of getting a new life, and just primarily for one reason, just to give my children or myself, my life, my personal life, a better option based on the kind of family I came from, and seeing all the opportunities we lost because my dad refused or for some reason did not pursue second options for us. So I told my husband, my fiance, when I was dating him, that I beg, oh, I don't want to stay in Nigeria. If you're not staying, let's know where this relationship is going to. If you want to sleep in Nigeria, I'm not interested. But if you are thinking of moving ahead, oh yeah, let's pursue marriage. So basically, okay, we first of all heard of Express Entry, I think in 2016, when a friend relocated to Canada. And I asked her, how did you get to Canada? But because her fiance was the one who did the process, she could not really explain it to me, but she told me that, okay, this is the name of what is done. I said, okay, I'll read through it and everything. But somehow I started my PhD then, so I was really busy. I just left that. So in 2017, a colleague of my husband left too, and he was like, you're going to Canada. What's happening there? He said, they left through the same process. I was like, really? Recalling what my friend said again. So 2017, we just started preliminary reading. We just started reading, and it was 2018 that we took the bold step after we got married, knowing that we both had this common goal together, and we decided to move. And so we started reading about it, and we found out that fine. When we took the eligibility test, we found out that we were very eligible, and because we had a master's, we were quite young, below 30, and we were eligible, and we decided to pursue the option, and God having it, we scaled through, and it came through for us last year April or so. So today I would be talking about Express Entry. What is Express Entry? Express Entry is just, okay, Canada is saying we need professionals in the country. Can you come to, okay, do I have to share it?
I'm asking, if you want me, I can share it.
Okay, yeah, you can share it. Yeah, you can share it here.
Okay.
Canada is saying, you are skilled, you're a skilled professional. Can you come to Canada and give us what you have, and we'll give you something in return? What do they give me in return? For me personally, what they give me in return is my citizenship, and they just give you an opportunity to a better life, better living. And if you were like me, who never really did so well in your career in Nigeria, then it would also give you a better prospect with respect to your career.
Can you see my screen? If you can tell me which
yes,
one.
I can see it.
Which one?
Okay, yes, I can see it.
Is this the
Okay,
right
we
one?
can start. Yeah, well, not okay. We could start with this rough estimation.
This one.
That's the slide number 1. Yes, no, rough estimation of EE based on family size. Okay. Yes, no, not this one. Not this one.
Is this it?
Not this one. No, not this one.
All right, hold on. This one.
Yes, this one. Yes, exactly. So basically, that is what Canada is saying. That come to this country, we'll give you this, and at the end of 3 years, we would give you your citizenship. So people often ask, how much would it cost me to relocate to Canada based on Express Entry?
But,
and somehow,
do you want us to tweet the CRS calculation, the tool? Do you want us to tweet that?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Hi, everyone. So my manager is going to tweet. Omobi is going to talk about how do you calculate and to make sure that you potentially qualify for the Express Entry stream. You need this tool. Usually the immigration consultant will charge you $100 to do that calculation.
Wow.
Janet is going to tweet that. So I want you to go on my profile, click on that. So when she gets to that, how to calculate it, you already have it open. So you can do this assessment yourself and be able to tell us what is your CRS score for her to help you determine whether you should be pursuing express entry or not. So Janet, if you can hear me, please go and tweet that. Go and tweet that. You can keep going. I'll try and get at it.
Okay. So first off, before you get a rough estimation, because you first of all have to know if you are actually eligible for express entry. I would say that you are eligible, basically on a general note, you are eligible when you have a master's degree, because with a master's degree, you get as much points as 135 points. You have a master's degree, you are below, say, 34, 33, and then you have 1 to 3 years experience. That is, with that, I could tell you that you are very eligible. At least you will get good CRS scores. But then you have to know how much points you will get based on your own particular parameters, the parameters you're going to put into the CRS calculator. So with that, when you click on the CRS calculator, it gives you the things you should put. Are you married? Is your spouse coming to Canada with you? If your spouse is coming to Canada with you, what is the highest qualification your spouse has? If your spouse is not coming with you, okay, that ends.
So if you, I've tweeted the CRS calculator, the CRS tool for you to be able to calculate your eligibility. So please go out there and click on the link on my Twitter, and please help us retweet it to other people. So Omobi will, if you can walk them through that CRS calculator as they open it up.
Okay, let me open it on my laptop here. Okay, I've opened it here, and it says the first thing is, what is your marital status? Say you are married, just like me. And the next question is, just if you need the link, just Google CRS calculator link, and then it brings you to the exact page I am talking about.
Are you guys
so it says,
what? Can you see the CRS calculator? Do you have it open? We want a yes or a no. Let us know. We want you to make sure that you are able to calculate your score today, so you can know whether
by yourself.
Yes, maybe express entry is the right route for you or not. Have you opened your CRS calculator? We need 5 yeses, and then we'll move on. I've seen 2 yeses, 3 yeses, 4. It's on my Twitter handle is AddexMe, @AddexMe. Okay, I should put it on here, @AddexMe, @AddexMe. So that's it on Twitter. Find me at AddexMe. Open your CRS tool, and Omobi can keep going with filling it. All right, let's fill in that.
Okay. Do I have to do the because the first thing is your marital status. Do I do it as a single person or as a married person, or should I just use myself as an example for the CRS?
So everyone should do it based on their condition. If you're married, put married. If you're single, put single. If you're a widow, put widow. AddexMe, my handle. Find that and help us click on it, and let's do your calculation for eligibility. We want to do it. You want to do it yourself. You are determining your Canadian eligibility on the express entry today by yourself. Click on that link, help us tweet it, and I'm gonna keep going.
Okay, so the first thing is, what is your marital status? Your marital status is married. That is what you should click on, married. Then the next thing is your spouse a common law partner or a citizen or a permanent resident of Canada? I would assume that many of us are not married to PRs or citizens of Canada. So for me, I would choose no. And the next thing is, will your spouse or common law partner be coming with you to Canada? Yes, definitely. My husband will be coming to Canada. How old are you? Yeah, I am 32, so I choose 32. But at the time I did at the time we chose ours, that was 2018. I think I was 30, so I chose 30. I chose 30 exactly. What is your level of education? I have a master's degree, which I have a certificate to choose. So the thing here is that you should choose your highest level of education for which you have a certificate to prove for. Because if you do not choose, if you have a master's and you do not have if you're undergoing your master's and you do not have a certificate for it yet, or you do not have a proof for it, you are going to run into serious trouble. So even though I am on my PhD, I do not have a PhD certificate yet. I do not choose my PhD. So this is what you should choose here. So choose your highest level of education for which you have a proof to show for it. Have you earned a Canadian degree? That is 4B now. Have you earned a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate? Before I came to Canada, no, I had not earned a Canadian degree. So the answer here would be no. Official languages, Canada's, okay. Are your test results less than 2 years? Definitely, your test should be less than 2 years. So you choose yes. If you realize that if you choose no, it's not going to go further. You would not be eligible for express entry once your test is more than 2 years. So choose yes for this. And which language test did you take for your first official language? Of course, it is IELTS. There are several other tests you can take, but the common one is the IELTS that we all know about. So enter your scores. I would choose the scores my husband had, or the scores that I'm not so smart, so I did not pass IELTS when I did it. So
Okay.
So speaking, I think he had 8.5. Listening, he had 8. Reading, he had 8. And writing, he had 7.5. Yes, exactly. So do you have other language results? Not applicable, because I do not have TF Canada, TCF Canada. And this one is very tricky. It says, in the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada do you have? People often choose, if you look at the options, people often choose, they skip this in Canada and choose the number of years of experience they have wherever they've come from. But this calculator has specified it must be in Canada, nowhere else. If you do not have work experience in Canada, it is wrong. So sometimes when I tell people, okay, go and calculate your CRS score and tell me what your score is, I would know if you are to go for PNP or not. And they say, Mobi, I had 700 or something. I'm like, what? You cannot have 700 or something. It's not possible. So when I go back to run this test with them, I found out that this for number 6, they've chosen that they had some experience in Canada, whereas they never had an experience in Canada. So ensure you choose none or less than a year for that. It says, in the last 10 years, how many total years of foreign skilled work experience do you have? Now, this is where you talk about foreign experience outside Canada. It could be in the US, it could be in Nigeria, it could be in India, it could be anywhere you've come from. And this one would be 3 years or more, because at the time of 2018 or so, we actually had more than 3 years experience. Do you have a certificate or qualification from a Canadian province, territory, or federal body? No. As of that time, I had nothing from Canada. So every information asking me for anything in Canada was no. So my number 7 is no. I hope I'm not running too fast. I'm just trying to run.
Because we actually don't have too much time. So the faster we go, the better.
Okay. Do you have a valid job offer by labor? This one will be no. I did not have an offer before I came to Canada. Do you have a nomination certificate from a province or territory? No. Do you or your spouse or common partner have at least one brother or sister living in Canada? No. If you do, please choose these things according to what is applicable to you. What is the highest level of education for which your spouse or common law partner has? As of that time, my husband or my spouse, he was the principal applicant anyway. So we both had a master's. So he chose master's for me, and also I'll choose master's here too. In the last 10 years, how many years of, this is in Canada, so definitely it is no. Do your spouse or, yeah, I took a language test. So I think okay, this is where my secret will be out now. I think in speaking, I had 7.5. In listening, I had 6 or so. In reading, I had 6 or 6.5. In writing, I think I had, 6.5. Then in reading, I had 6. Yeah, so this is where I would calculate my score. And my score gives me 470. So we had 470 as of that time in 2018. And the CRS point, or the CRS cut-off mark at that time was 441. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was 441. Yeah, but
if you don't mind, if you have finished calculating your CRS score based on what Omobi just explained, We want you to drop it. Drop it here. What is your final score based on what is applicable to you? I hope you choose that for your IELTS. Even if you don't have IELTS right now, we want you to choose CLB 9, which is the highest.
Yeah.
On this chart now, you can see the CLBs. Just choose IS for everything. Choose IS for everything under IELTS.
Yeah, I would say for if you do not have your IELTS result yet, the minimum, which gives you the maximum point for your CRS, is that you should have 8 in listening, then 7 in the rest of the modules. So choose 8 in listening, then 7 in reading, 7 in writing, and 7 in speaking. That is the minimum you should not go below if you're going to be your principal applicant. Because if you have 7.5 in listening, and somebody who has 8 in listening, and you both have the same parameters, you're the same age, you both have a master's degree, or you both have a bachelor's, you'll find out that the CRS score with somebody who has 7.5 and with somebody who has 8 in listening could be as high as 50 points.
Yes.
The difference could be as high as 50 points. So the minimum recommended that you should never go below is CLB 9. So, and that is 8 in listening and 7 in the rest of the module. So if you do not have an IELTS, please choose CLB 9 and ensure that you work towards this. Nobody saying you cannot have 9 all through. You can have 9 all through, but ensure you target 8 in listening and 7 in the rest of the modules. So that this is why people repeat IELTS, because they've not been able to hit that target of 8 in listening. And sometimes some people get 6.5 in reading or 6.5 in writing. You must have 7 in the rest of the modules for you to have the maximum point.
You want to target that you score highest in everything, because I believe you can. Because right now the CRS score is high, right? So if you go and use low score and the whole thing is low, you're gonna be in the pool. You'll be sitting on a long thing. We have to do provincial nominee for you, right? So try to make sure that you get to CLB 9 or higher. If you can get to CLB 10, is even better. So somebody's asking me, Omobi, you can keep going.
Okay.
15 more minutes. Is it something that you can do in 15 minutes?
I will try. Okay, so now we'll talk about the rough estimation for EE. And one thing about express entry is that the larger your family size, the more money you need to spend. And I would divide the estimation into 2 different parts. I'll call it money you would need for every process that you will go through, and money you would need for your proof of fund, which are 2 different things. You understand? The proof of fund is...
What is the lowest CRS score? Because people have calculated. If you can shed light on, before we move on from that topic, what is the lowest score that we have? This 2019-2020. And what is the score that is currently the score that they picked in the last draw?
Okay, the lowest CRS score for 2020 was or is 470, and then the highest is 473. So it means that for 2020, the scores have really been high. And I was telling my husband that if we did not enter the pool as of the time we entered the pool, and we were entering it in 2020, even with what we had, we wouldn't have been eligible. So we may have had to wait for me to be done with my PhD or gone through PNP or something. So that is the highest. The highest for 2020 is 473 and the lowest is 470. What this means is that when you enter the pool with less than 473, you will not be called or be given an ITA. But if you have 473, you'll be given an ITA. Now, for those who are not eligible, Diola will talk about provincial nomination, because that is another route you could go through and get additional 600 points to your CRS score, and that makes you eligible. But for now, I'm focusing on those who are eligible, those who have above 470 for 2020 or 473 for 2020. Who knows, maybe in the next couple of months, the CRS scores may reduce. For instance, I remember it was 2018, December 2018, I specifically remember, December 2018, the CRS score was the lowest as far as I knew express entry was concerned. I never knew express entry in 2015 or 2016, but it was 439. So several people got ITAs at that time, and you can imagine it if it is 439 at this time. I'm sure many people will be happy, but now it's gone so high. When we entered the pool, it was 441. You understand? So
I have a question. So based on what it is right now, what is the combination of age and education that people will say, this is my cutoff. If my age is this and my education is this, I should think of maybe I'll be eligible. If my age
Okay.
is this and my education is that, can you shed light on, at least for people to kind of get what their options are?
Okay, I would say that if you're less than 30, if your combination could be between 470 to 473. If you're less than 30, or you're just a little above, say you're like 32, 31, you have a master's degree and you have 1 to 3 year experience, I think you should have it. You should, and you are single, you should have 470 and above. If you look at what I calculated, you found out that my husband and I have both had a master's degree, and we were both 30 at that time. So that was what made us get 470. Now, if I would do the pool as our age now, we would not have 470 anymore, because with every age, with the older you get, the more points you lose. So when I get to 31, I lose 5 points. When I get to 32, I lose another 5 points. So that is actually the combination. And also, like you said, your IELTS must really be strong. You must have an IELTS of above a CLB 9. You must. I tell my young friends who are currently running their masters, and they'll be done in the next 2 years, and they'll be like 29, 28, or 30. I tell them, if you want to relocate to Canada, you see this in your future, and you want to relocate, you would still be eligible. These are the things that you should work towards. And I currently have somebody that a protege of mine, and she's been working in HR for the past 2 years. I think her 3rd year will be complete at the end of this year, because she wants to come to Canada. She's like, Omobi, in 2020, I will be 29, and we've already gone through everything for her. She's like, my CRS score will be 484. And she's very clear that even if the scores go high, I am still eligible. So if you are single and you are less than 30, 31, and you have strong IELTS points, you should be able to reach that peak of 470.
Great.
Now, if you are married, your spouse must write IELTS results. If you are married and you are putting your spouse in your application, you are saying that your spouse is coming to Canada with you, and your spouse is not writing IELTS results, your scores will drop. Your scores will automatically drop. I cannot really go into details of why it will drop, but your scores will drop. Not just that, your spouse must evaluate their highest qualification. And the combination for that is, it will be good for you if your spouse has a master's degree, just like you too, or your spouse has a bachelor's or an HND or something that can earn good points. Your spouse must write IELTS results. Your spouse doesn't necessarily have to eat CLB 9, but your spouse will have as much as you would from doing these two things. You will get additionally 20 points. Now, when we were entering the pool, my IELTS results were ceased. I was one in the 10,000s of people that write IELTS in Nigeria that my result was ceased. But we entered the pool with my husband's IELTS results. Mine was not put in the pool because there was no proof to show that I wrote IELTS result, because it was ceased. But with his own result, we hit about 450 something. Now, when I added my own result, at the time we wanted to submit our profile, we had to update our profile. Our CRS score jumped up to 470, just like we calculated it here. It jumped really high. Then we had to explain why we were entering the pool, why we entered the pool with a lower score, and why we are submitting our application with a higher score. That's a story for another day. But what I'm just trying to say is that when your spouse writes IELTS results, even if it is 10 points, you get something. Yes. And if your spouse does well as much as CLB 9 or CLB 7 or 6 or 8, it gives you good points. So I would say that let your spouse, if your spouse is coming to Canada, let your spouse have IELTS and write the results. Then I would also say, run through the CRS calculator and find out what is best for you. Yeah. Find out who is in a better position to be the principal applicant. Mm-hmm. Who is smarter, who can easily get a CLB 9 between me and my husband, who has the highest qualifications, who has this, who has that. Ourselves, for example, I used to tell my husband that he's smarter than me. So I wanted him to be the principal applicant because he's naturally smarter than me. But we both had almost everything at the same space. Our highest qualifications were the same thing. Our age are almost similar, you understand? And we both decided that, okay, we'll both write the exam, but whoever passes the IELTS exam with nothing less than CLB9 is whoever will be the principal applicant. And fortunately, he did it better than he did because I had a CLB of maybe 6 or 7. I think it was 6, 7, and he had 10 or so. So because he had 10, it was better for him to become the principal applicant. So run the calculator and see what works for you, what works best for you. So I think that is basically all for. Okay, I will quickly run through the rough estimation for EE. So as I said earlier, it's divided into two. Your POF and what you would need for the application, what you will need from the start to the finish of your application. And for the start to the finish of your application, you will need money for IELTS, you will need your passport if you do not have a passport. You need to go for medicals, your PCC, police certificate, your ECA report, that's your verification. You will need to pay your application fee. You will need to pay your passport because you would have to take passport, and you would also need some miscellaneous. So I have detailed in my blog a breakdown of each of these family sizes and how much each of these will cost. And for a family of one, you will need, say a family of 4, generally as it's a man, a wife, and with 2 children. You need about 1.3 or 1.2 million for the whole process. And you also need a proof of fund of about 5.7 million. Now, this is an estimation that was based in 2018. I'm not sure, or I think Canada has what's it called? They've updated this POF whatever. So you would have to go on the website, and everything is also detailed in my blog. You would have to go on the website and see what is applicable to you. But generally, you would need. I always tell people that coming to Canada through Express Entry is a lot of money. You need money. You need to show that you have money to sustain yourself any time you can come here. And one good thing about it is that if you cannot get the money, you can get a gift deed. Gift deed is saying, okay, my mom or my dad is giving me this money to come to Canada. And how do you prove that it's a gift deed? You just go to the court and notarize your document, and that's all. You do not need a bank statement for a gift deed. That is one good thing I like about a gift deed, than if you're showing money that you've been saving for a long time.
So
okay,
please,
you had a question.
Gift deed. I wanted to say that I wanted to emphasize gift deed because some people don't have a lot of money in their account, and they are applying now, and they are wondering, so when they give me this penny, how can I prove that I have 7 million or 8 million? So gift deed has been used as one of the very good options, especially for young Africans who actually do not have the luxury of keeping 10 million naira in their account. Use gift deed. Can you explain a bit about what that means so that our audience kind of get it, that this is a very critical piece, because money can be the reason why you are unable to make it to Canada after you have done everything possible. If you can, please touch a bit about that.
Okay, gift deed is saying that somebody is just like it explains, somebody is just giving me this money as a gift, and the person is not collecting it back. So the logical thing is that gift deed should come from your family member. It should not come from your friend. It should not come from your neighbor. It should come from somebody with which you have close ties with. It should come from your mother, your sister, your brother, or your father. And if it comes from your brother, you must be able to prove, or you must be able to show that your brother is capable of giving you such money. Because at some point in your application, you may be asked to prove, or you may be asked to submit your brother's bank statement. You understand? So it is better it comes from I would suggest that it's better it comes from your father or your mother. When we're doing hers, we said our gift deed was coming from my mom, because if we had to prove, we had sufficient evidence to say that she had the money to give us this money. She's a permanent secretary and she has the money. If they wanted to see her bank account, they could see that, okay, she had a good source of income that could afford her to give us this money. And an explanation was also that because we were newly married at that time, she was giving us this money based on we are settling into a new home, and she was just dashing us this money. So that was what we explained. That was what we would have explained for the gift deed, although we're not asked to prove it. But if we were asked to prove it, that is what we would have said. So ensure that when you get it,
aunties, can your uncle or
yeah,
auntie give you gift?
yeah, provided that you can prove your relationship with the uncle or auntie. Provided you can prove your relationship with the uncle and auntie. Yeah. So for gift deed, you do not have to submit a bank statement. What you do is that ensure that the money that comes into your ensure that the money that is coming as a gift deed is coming from the person that you are saying is sending it to, is giving it to you, into your bank statement. For instance, if your mom is giving you 10 million naira, she has to be the one that has to put the money in your account, and it has to be shown there. Do you understand? Because these things are so logical. If you're saying your mom is giving you one money, and I cannot see that it's coming from your mom, it will spell several doubts. So she has to be the one that has to send the money to your account. So what we did in our own situation was that we removed the money from our joint account. We sent it to an investment platform. The investment platform, when we gathered all our proof of fund, the investment platform sent it to my mom. Then my mom sent the money back to us. So when we gathered money from my sisters, from my friend, and from everybody that were borrowing us the money, we totaled everything together. We sent it to the investment platform. When we sent it to that investment platform, the investment platform sent it to my mom. My mom now sent us the money. So there was no transaction running through our own accounts at all.
This saying that I want to add something. This means that it shows that even if my mom didn't have that lump sum, maybe she had an investment. So she went and liquidated her investment. She collected that money, and now she's giving it to us. So if there's any reason for tracing, it can easily be traced that it came from an investment platform, which means she was one person that invested in it. It could also be like a landed property. So you could say my mom sold her land, and this is now the money that he gave us. Why is this important? I've seen a lot of people who were stuck on money who could not provide it, and that's the reason why all their labor of 1 year of processing express entry was now put on hold, because there is no, how can we trace it? It's hard to trace. And some of them, know about gift deeds, and then when they meet us, you kind of explain this to them. This is being useful. This has been useful. We are actually supposed to be done, but we still want to hear what you have, like last words. If you can help us summarize in 2 minutes, so I will have some time to give to talk about provincial nominee. I don't really have a lot of time today, but I want to touch about provincial nominee. If the audience, if you people can call back, because this call is going to end in 13 minutes. I know I will start it, but if you can call back, I will spend the next 30 to 45 minutes slashing through the provincial nominee programs for you, because I saw that a lot of you have points that are less than 470. So you need a provincial nominee for you to be able to boost this course. So please stay tuned after we finish this session, because Instagram only allow 1 hour, right? We'll dial back in and try to see how far we can get with the provincial nominee program. So if you can help summarize in 2 minutes what you think, please keep this in mind. Like this very good news about gift deeds and other things. That would be great.
Okay, for express entry, what I would say is that always verify your highest degree. Always use whatever you can, because you have to prove it. So whatever you say, always prove it. Always ensure that whatever you put into your application, you do not tell lies. Okay, then one thing I would mention is that a friend of mine, he had 470 as of last year or so. So he entered the pool, and somehow he just told me that my application was, CIC came back and said my application was ineligible. I would also mention that when you are when you've done everything, you have your IELTS results, you have your master's degree, you verified your results, your degrees with WES or whichever, or IQUAS, whichever bodies you're verifying your degrees with, and everything is ready, you're ready to enter the pool. Ensure that, one, everything is right and everything is correct. You do not give misinformation. Then ensure that for your proof of fund, because there will be a point while you're filling your proof out, how much are you bringing to Canada? Go back to the it's on the CIC website. Go back and see how much you should bring to Canada. Never go below that. In fact, if it is 25,000 for a 25,000 Canadian dollars for a family of 4, ensure that you choose 25,500. Never ever go below 25,500 according to what is stipulated here. When we're running through his profile, we asked him for his details, and my husband and I ran through his profile, and we found out that he was short. He said he was bringing money short of $83. He's a family of 4. And he has the family of, I think the size for the money size for the family of 4 is about $24,083. But he said he was coming with $24,000. So he was short of $83, and so his profile was deemed ineligible. And now he has to re-enter. They have to cancel that application, re-enter the pool, and because for this year, and because he's going to be older this year, he loses 5 points. He will no longer be 470 as of last year. He would now be 465. So these are the things that you should always take cognizance of. Also, as soon as you've done everything possible, okay, say my point is 450 or 440, and I'm confused. Should I enter the pool? Should I not enter the pool? Please always enter the pool. It is always better to be inside the pool and upgrade your profile than to be outside the pool, because you can never know what next month will tell. Next month, a CRS draw may be done, and you may be even 400 or 410 or 420 or 430. You can never say. December 2018, I could never have believed that the CRS score would go as low as 439. Previously, it was 440 or 450. So always enter the pool once you've gotten everything that you need to get. And yeah, we'll talk about PNP. When you're inside the pool, some provincial people could come into the pool and even pick you. But when you're not inside the pool, nobody knows you. Nobody knows what your scores are. So always ensure that you enter the pool. And for IELTS, people say, I've been writing IELTS. I've not been passing. I feel sorry for them, and I feel pity for them, because I was almost in the same shoes, if not for my husband. So I would say, just keep trying, keep pushing, do the things that you should have done better. Maybe go on buy books, or if you have friends who did better, ask them what did they do differently, what did they learn, how did they learn. When people ask me for CRS help, I throw them to my husband, because I tell them I did not pass IELTS. My husband is the one that passed it. Talk to him, he will probably tell you what he did differently, because while me, I was busy studying for 3 months or 4 months, my husband just studied for 2 weeks. He even fell sick on the day of his exam, and yet he nailed it. So I don't know what he did differently. So speak to him. So perhaps you have to speak to people who passed it. I think there are tricks to these things. There is a way you have to write. There are some things, there are some words you should not say. There are some spellings you should not miss. There are some, I'm tempted to believe that there are some specific things that they look out for. So please ensure that these are the things that you put into place. And I would say that, in summary, I would say that Express Entry is a route that allows for young professional people to come into Canada, especially because the scores are going so high. And this is where I'll round up today. All information is on my blog. If you need any information you need concerning Express Entry.
I will tweet our blog content where she shared the breakdown of everything after this session today. And when we put this on YouTube, we'll also attach that blog post so you can read it when you rewatch this, for you to kind of have a full gist about that. Please follow her on Instagram, on Twitter, and she's new to Twitter, just like me. Help me grow on Twitter. Twitter people, let us welcome this our new person. And follow her on Facebook as well. So, Amabi, we very much appreciate all your help and your contribution today.
Thank you.
I will see you later after the session. Guys, thank you so much for being with us. And now we move on to the other stream, which is what I'm going to be talking about. So we'll be talking about what are my provincial nominee options. And I'm going to kickstart with, maybe I'll start with the Saskatchewan Provincial Nominee Program, because I went to school in Saskatchewan. I have very good knowledge about how the system works there. So I will start with this slide. Can you see the slide, guys? Can you see the slide? Can you see the slide? So if you can see the slide, please say yes. All right. So please, if you're on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, please help us tweet. We want this to get to more people because the PNP area is really a good place for people who think I am a widower, I'm a widow, I'm single, I'm married, we're a little too old, our CRS score is less than 470, and we have been sitting in the pool. What are we supposed to do? This is what you are supposed to do. Get on the PNP program, or you can go to school. You can use the school route as a second option. So I'm going to move into the PNP program. Please, as I'm talking, help us tweet this, help us tag it to your Facebook, help us tag it to your Instagram, take a snapshot, give us shout out, let's know how we are doing. So we can really know that, you actually got something out of this program today. Please keep in mind, this is going to end in 5 minutes. I'm going to dial back in to continue the session about the provincial nominee program. So today I'm going to be discussing provincial nominee program that does not require job offer. A lot of people talk about the fact that they can't get job offer. They can't get job offer, they are in the pool, and for that, they are thinking about maybe they are not eligible for the provincial nominee program. So can you see my slide? So there are 5 different provinces in Canada that has programs that does not require that you have the job offer situation. So province 1 is Saskatchewan. Province 2 is the province of Quebec. Province 3 is Alberta. Province 4 is PEI, Prince Edward Island. And province 5 is Nova Scotia. I'm going to be starting with province 1, which is Saskatchewan. Let's talk about, okay, Saskatchewan, what are the different routes and different options available in Saskatchewan? For provincial nominee under Saskatchewan, there are 3 different categories. The first category is the international skilled worker category. The second category, the Saskatchewan experience category. The third one is for business people, entrepreneurs, and farm category. So, because I believe that the people I'm dealing with today are the international skilled worker. You have not lived in Canada, and you are not coming to open business or start a farm in Saskatchewan, right? So let's focus on the international skilled worker. The international skilled worker category is divided into 3 categories: occupation in demand, express entry, and employment offer. As I talked about before, you don't have an employment offer. That is why you are now stuck. You are wondering, if I've been trying to get a job and I'm not getting it. And you are not alone. Even people who went to school in Canada, they need to know strategy to get jobs. Jobs does not fall on people's lap. The resume content that you need to get a job in Nigeria is different from the resume content that you need to get a job in Canada. So for you to be more competitive, you need to be able to convert your resume format to what is acceptable in Canada. So also, how do we compete for jobs? What are my options? Where are the job banks? Where are the places I should register for? How do I find hidden jobs? There are hidden jobs everywhere. Can I use LinkedIn to find a job if I am outside of the country? These are things that you can consider if you're thinking about employment offer is the route that I want to take. If you are with us today, next week, come back. I'll be hosting Tunde Taj. Tunde Taj is a Canadian HR specialist, and it's going to walk us through the job offer route, the employment offer route. And when I graduated from school in Canada, I applied for 3,000 jobs, and I ended up with my first job. I'm going to talk more about how I did it. Why did I need 3,000 jobs? What was my strategy? How can you find hidden jobs in Canada? How can you compete properly, apart from just using Job Bank and Indeed? What are my other options? Next week, we're going to focus on that. Now, let's focus on occupation in demand and express entry for Saskatchewan. And my next slide, just wait. Can you see the slide? Can you see the slide, guys? I want to hear from you. Can you see the slide? It's important that you see the slide. You guys are not giving me logo. Don't you love me, Addy? Can you see the slide? I want to know. So for you to get into the Saskatchewan nominee program, let's say you are passing through the express entry route. You have applied into the express entry pool. You are in the pool already. You have a profile in there, but you realize that your scores are lower. Now you want to go and explore the Saskatchewan nominee program. The first thing you need to do is you need to signify interest in Saskatchewan. So you will open what is called expression of interest. When you open that profile, maybe I should go to the next slide. So Saskatchewan, so okay, there are two programs, right? The Occupation in Demand program and the Express Entry program. These two do not require any job offer. So you can decide to use one of the two. If you're already in the pool, you are going to be using the Saskatchewan Express Entry route. If you are not in the pool yet, you are going to be using the Occupation in Demand route. The Occupation in Demand route is a paper-based system, paper-based. And the Express Entry system adds 600 points to your Express Entry profile if you pull through. So here are the criteria for both of them. The Occupation in Demand and the Express Entry require that you have education that falls under the category of experience NOCs A, NOC B, or NOC 0. We've talked about the NOC in the beginning of the conversation when I started. Also, language proficiency. So if you're on here today, you're saying my IELTS score is not up to CLB 7. I can't have CLB 9. I think it's too high. This province allows a minimum of CLB 4. So it allows less CLB compared to the Express Entry route. So if you have CLB province, for either maybe the Occupation in Demand or the Express Entry route. Hello guys, I'm back on, and let me share that slide again. Hi guys, thank you for joining back. I'm going to do my best to walk through. I know that I asked you for 2 hours of your time. Now I'm asking you for more time. I am sorry that you have to spend more time with me today. Are you enjoying it so far? Is this helping you in any way? Do you think this is adding value to you? I want to hear from you. If you think this is adding value to you, I want to hear from you. If this is adding value to you, I want you to please share it with your audience. Share it on social media. Let's blow Twitter up. Let other Nigerians benefit. They too deserve a chance at a good life. They deserve a chance at being able to come to Canada. They deserve a chance at being successful. This is not because we want Nigeria to be empty. At least let them go and get foreign education. Let them get a second passport. Let them get something else. Please share this with your audience. I want this being tweeted. I want you to share this on Instagram, on Facebook, on everything, LinkedIn, everywhere. Just help me blow everywhere, okay? Let us try to add value to more Nigerians. You may be thinking, what is in this for Dr. Adiola? Why is she doing this? Some people also gave me a hand when I was trying to get up. I think Nigerians should start to give hands to one another. Everything does not have to end up in getting money, making money. God has blessed me enough in my own little way. So this is my own little way of contributing. So please contribute by helping us to share this on social media. Take a snapshot of this session, tweet it, tag me, tell everybody what Andrew to come to. Tell them to come to Dr._Olubamiji and join this, because PNP is a very good route if people have been sitting in the pool for a while and they are not able to get their invitation to apply. So let's move on. We were talking about Saskatchewan provincial nominee and the 2 routes that does not require job offer. If you're already in the pool, you want to be looking at just the Express Entry route. If you have not gotten into the pool, you want to do a paper-based Saskatchewan nominee, you can do the Occupation in Demand route if your occupation is one of the highly sought after occupation in Saskatchewan. I was explaining the things that you need. So Express Entry fee is not required for the Occupation in Demand route, but for the other route, you need a fee, right? Which is the Express Entry fee. You need to express interest. So you need to do like an expression of interest where you go on Saskatchewan provincial nominee page and express interest in the province. You can, once you do that, another thing that I want to keep in mind, even if this province is not asking you to have a job offer, is you need to register your license. So you need to regularize your license. If you're an engineer, you will register with Apex. So when you register with Apex, Apex will say that your engineering degree is equal to the same engineering degree in Canada, and they will give you engineer in training license. In Canada, especially for engineering, we take it very seriously because we want you to be able to endorse a lot of things. You know, engineers build houses for us, they build bridges, they build different things. We want to make sure that engineers are certified because we don't want them to be building cars that will be killing people, on houses that will be collapsing. So there is a link. I will add the link to the post when I post the video. There is a link where you can check, is my occupation part of the ones that needs registration, and you will see where exactly you need to go if you need to register your occupation in Canada to get it regularized. This is different though from your ECA. You need to do your ECA with West, ICAS, and all of those places. You need to do that as the first one. But for Saskatchewan provincial nominee, you need to register your degrees if it's part of the regularized degrees. So regularized degrees, architects, all of these people, they are mostly regularized. Literally almost every job in Saskatchewan or Canada in general, they are regularized. So apart from those things, when you have done expression of interest, and you have enough points in terms of criteria. So let's talk about that points for a second. So if you are interested in Canada, you may be wondering, all right, how does it work? I'm interested in Saskatchewan as a province because I want to boost the score that I have in the express entry route. Here I'm showing, can you see this clearly? Here is the point assessment grid. So Saskatchewan is going to grade you based on this point assessment grid. And they are going to assign points to you. For their Saskatchewan program, for their nominee program, the program uses a point scale of 100. So for a point scale of 100, 60 is the minimum. If they do your collation of points, you press calculator here and there, and you don't get up to 60, you are not eligible to apply for Saskatchewan nominee. If you are over 60, now you are eligible. But in the last 1 year, the Saskatchewan nominee has been issued, the invitation to apply has been issued to those people who have grade points of 69 or higher. 69 or higher is the target. 60 is what makes you eligible. 69 is what makes you get the invitation to apply. How is the point calculated? If you have under training and education, if you have a bachelor's degree, you get 20 points. So if you have your calculator, I want you to start to calculate. If you have 20 bachelor's degree, under the point assessment grid for Saskatchewan nominee, bachelor's give you 20 points. If you have master's or PhD, it gives you 23 points. If you have ND or trade certificate, you get 15 points. If you have journeyman, we call it journeyman in Canada. If you have journeyman certificate, you get 20. So I want you to write down what your point is. For this point assessment grid for education, is it 20 or 23 or 20 or less that you have? Write it down. Language proficiency. So for Saskatchewan, you know, for the express entry, the minimum for your CLB to get into express entry at all is CLB 7, right? For this one, the minimum to get in is CLB 4. But if you get CLB 4, you will only get 12 points, right? So 12 points is a little low if you're trying to get 69. So I always say target CLB 8. You know, for express entry, you need CLB 9 to be very competitive. For Saskatchewan, you need CLB 8 to be very competitive. CLB 8 is their maximum. So which makes it easier for you, right? So if you get CLB 8 points, that is 20 points, right? So what is then for work experience? This work experience is very sweet. So if you have in the last 5 years, if you work, you need minimum of 1 year experience in the last 5 years for you to be eligible. But it is preferred that in the last 5 years that you work 5 years completely. So if in the last 5 years you are working, you've worked for 5 years in an NOC 0, A or B, that is what you want to come and do in Canada, then for that 5 years you get 10 points. If let's say you have more than 5 years experience, so let's say you have 10 years of experience, so for the remaining 5 years that you had before the last 5 years, you get 5 points. If you have 8 years of experience, you get 10 points for the last 5 years, and then you get 3 points for the other experience that you have. So for those people with 10 years of experience, under work experience for this point assessment grid for SIMP, you get 15 points. For people with 13 years of experience, you get 13 points. For people, for people with 7 years of experience, you get 13 points. No, 12 points, sorry. For people with 8 years of experience, you get 13 points. So 5 years from now to last 5 years, 2 points per year. From 6 years ago to 10 years ago, 1 point per year. So calculate it. How many points do you have for work experience? Put it down. Age. If you are less than 18 years old, you get 0 points. If you are older than 50 years old, you get 0 points. But if you are in the sweet spot of 22 to 50 years, you get points. So from 20 to 34, you get the highest point, 12 points. From 35 to 45, you get 10 points. From 46 to 50, you get 8 points. Please write it down. If you have now, that is category 1. Category 1 is really using everything you already have in the express entry, right? In your express entry application, you already have your ECA assessment, you already wrote IELTS, you already have work experience there, you already have your age there. So you're not doing extra work by doing Saskatchewan nominee program. You're not doing any extra work. You're just giving yourself a better option if you cannot meet the express entry criteria. The second, so everything in the first category is good. I want you to calculate. This is your first category. What is your total score? Can you write it down? I want to see it. Then the next category is if you have connection to Saskatchewan, or you have any form of labor market expression. So if you have jobs or that are, you have experience of jobs where you can get somebody to give you any form of, maybe you have a family member in Saskatchewan. If you have any family member, your brother, your sister, your mom, and all that, you get 20 points in Saskatchewan. If you have studied previously in Saskatchewan, like me, I studied previously in Saskatchewan, I'll get 5 points. If you have worked previously in Saskatchewan, you get 5 points. So one thing I don't really like about this Saskatchewan express entry is they give ODD 20 points for having family, which is good. So if you have any family member in Saskatchewan, it makes you very eligible. So if you go to Saskatchewan now, a lot of the people have uncles, aunties, because it allows you to bring your family to Saskatchewan. They want you to reunite with your family. So that 20 points boosts a lot of stuff. For people who have family in Saskatchewan, they are able to migrate their entire family to Canada easily through the Saskatchewan program. If you don't have anybody in Canada, if you don't have any connection, you have not worked there before, you didn't go to school before, so only part 1 is where you will really get points, right? So your point, if it's from 67 to 69, or let's say you get a perfect score, I want you to go and do expression of interest for Saskatchewan. If you're already sitting in the pool today, and you say, I'm waiting forever, this thing is not working, and you feel like you meet this assessment grid, you can get 67 upward, you need to consider this Saskatchewan nominee program as a nominee program that will help you, because it does not require that you have any job offer, and hey, they are picking stuff every other month. So you are wondering, okay, now that I know that, yeah. So now that are you sure that I can really get in with my points? So here is a grid that I put together for you to show you, okay, maximum possible, because if you don't have any connection to Saskatchewan, you have not gone to school there, so most people are in the same boat as you. So most people competing also don't have family members in Saskatchewan. They also have not gone to school in Canada. They are coming from India or Asia or other countries, right? So if you can try to max out that 70 or get 69, they will pick you in the next round, and you can try as much as you can. If you have anything over 65, I always say 67 to play safe, you may consider Saskatchewan as the right provincial nominee to augment what you have in your express entry so that you don't keep staying in the pool. As you can see, it does not require any extra effort except that you pay $350 Canadian dollars. That's all it requires. Instead of staying in the express entry pool and waiting forever, and you don't need job offer in Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is cold, but I survived there for 4.5 years. So please carry your certificate. Go and express interest in Saskatchewan, and I wish you good luck. Now let's move on to the second. Okay, I have another slide before we finish. So if you If you are now thinking, this is great, let me go and do what I have to do, let me put it in, here are a few things you need to think about. Before you go and put in your expression of interest for Saskatchewan, there are some occupations that are excluded. You need to, I will put this out there, but you can see that there are some links. There are some occupations that are excluded. Saskatchewan is already saturated. They don't want those occupations anymore in their province. If your occupation if your experience fall under those occupations, unfortunately, you cannot apply under Saskatchewan nominee program. So I need you to, once I post all of these things, I need you to click on the link where you said excluded occupation list and search for your work experience. Make sure your work experience is not on that list before you go and express interest in Saskatchewan. God bless you. The second thing I want you to note is, if you're going to express interest in Saskatchewan, you need to regulate your degrees. I talked about this earlier. Engineer needs to go and submit their own to Apex. So there are so many different bodies that you need to submit your stuff to. You see the link is there. I'll share the link so that you can check where is that. If I'm a nurse, where should I send my certificate to? If I'm a so, where should I send it to for me to regulate my certificate? You will see this link later. Proof of employment. So if you're already working, you have worked for 6 years, you have worked for 7 years, they will need you to prove it. So you need to show that you work for the company that you are claiming in your ECA. So you will need maybe recommendation letter from your previous boss. If you have maybe you have your employment letter from that job, or some pay slips, or whatever can make you prove that you work the job that you are claiming in your ECA. You need to start to collate everything together. And once you have those, go and do your expression of interest and start to wait. So two things to keep in mind are settlement funds and settlement plan. For Saskatchewan, Omobi showed you the settlement funds required for express entry. For Saskatchewan, the settlement fund is smaller. So the settlement fund is not as much as what you need for the federal scheme. This also makes Saskatchewan very attractive for people who are from poor home, whose parents cannot afford to fund them. So look at Saskatchewan if you're thinking settlement fund is going to be an issue because it's lower settlement fund. You need a settlement plan. So if you're applying to Saskatchewan nominee, there is a website, this website that is showing here. You click there, you create a settlement plan. It's easy to create. They just ask you a question, yes or no, yes or no. You fill it in, you download the form, you attach all of these things. Before you submit in that expression of interest, make sure you have all of these things figured out. Don't submit what is not complete. You will get a copy of my slides once we want to release the video. One of you here, my new friends on Twitter, has graciously nominated himself to be helping me edit my YouTube videos. If anyone is on here, you have good skills. I'm not really good at editing videos and I don't have time. I do this every week. I would like to share this knowledge with Nigerians for free. So if you can do that for me, please come and show interest, and we need somebody to be editing video, adding all these links so that our people can have access to this information for free and be able to do the right thing. Now, that is the end of it for Saskatchewan provincial nominee. If you have questions, so somebody is asking, what is your experience is not in your NOC field? Well, that is a long thing, right? So if the experience, sometimes, like I said in my, when you go to school, you can get a degree in something, but that one degree, you can use it for 5 different types of work. So I can get a degree in physics, but I can be working for the last 5 years as an instrumentation and control engineer. So if I want to claim any NOC, I'll be claiming the NOC of instrumentation and control engineer because that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years. Just make sure that experience you want to claim, they are similar. So you can't claim 2 years as a barber and 3 years as a truck driver. They are very different. So your experience must tally. It may be different from the course you have studied because we all understand that from one course, you can diversify, you can do many other things and not just settle for exactly. If I study physics, it doesn't mean I have to go and work as a physicist. I can work as so many different things. Canada understands that completely. Now, let's move on to our next province that can give you an opportunity. So why should you consider a next province? So let's say you have gone to check and you found out that your occupation is on the excluded occupation list, so you can't apply for Saskatchewan. You are now discouraged, you are feeling sad. Don't feel sad yet. Alberta can be the next place for us to consider. I'm showing you, can you see what I'm showing right now? Can you see it? So somebody is asking question on how often do they do draw. So they do their draw once every 2 weeks. So they do 2 draws per month for Saskatchewan, which makes it very attractive, right? So you can really get stuff done. If it's twice per month, your luck will shine. All I always say is when you put in the hard work, always pray, you know, God help us. So if the number comes down from 69, let's say it comes to 67, that may be your lucky day. You are already on your way to Canada like that. So if you are part of the people whose job falls under the excluded occupation category, let's look for another province that can rescue you from the hands of the government of Africa. So the second province that we want to consider now is the Alberta Immigration Nominee Program. If you ask me, what province do I want to live in Nigeria? It's Alberta. Why? Because I'm an engineer, and Alberta is where Canada oil and gas economy is, right? That's where we have all the different oil companies. That's where we have everything when it comes to Alberta is the highest paying province in Canada. If you are looking for successful Nigerians who are professionals, they all live in Alberta. So don't think, oh, this place is cold, I don't want to go there. Alberta is the hub when it comes to the hub of engineering, the hub of prosperity. It is Alberta. Yes, Ontario is where Africans live the most because it's warm and whatnot, but the people who are Africans who are rich, they live in Alberta. So this is a very good province. You need to take it serious, because not only are you going to settle down there, you are going to have a good life. Your children are going to go to school. They are going to meet influential and affluential kids who are Nigerians and Africans as well. So this is a good province. If I ever move back to Canada, my uncle lives in Alberta, so this is like a second home to me. I love Alberta. I can keep talking about it. So yes, let's move on. Here are the 3 options if you are considering the Alberta Immigration Nominee Program: the Alberta Opportunity Stream, Alberta Self-Employed Farm Stream, and the Alberta Express Entry Stream. We are going to focus on the Alberta Express Entry Stream because I am assuming that you have an Express Entry profile. But the only issue right now is you have lower score, and you want us to find something else that you can do to help you increase your score. If you are watching me, please make sure you are tweeting about this. Make sure you are posting this on your Instagram. Make sure you are posting this on Facebook. Let's help other Africans get to Canada and have a successful life, and they will thank you for it. Please do that. I am doing this for you. Let somebody else also benefit. God bless you as you do that. Focusing back on the discussion, Alberta Express Entry Stream. Let's go. So I'm going to share the next slide. Okay, this is the next slide. Here is really talking through what are the program requirements. What do you need to have? So the first thing you need to do if you are considering the Alberta PNP Express Entry Program is you need to have an Express Entry profile, right? I'm assuming that you are going to have an Express Entry profile. You put yourself in the pool, and now you don't have enough points. That is why we are looking for PNP, right? So PNP, Alberta stream is very similar to the Saskatchewan stream. It also has its assessment grid points, which is also 100. So it's very similar. What you saw previously, remember the slides on how you calculate in Saskatchewan, is very similar to what Alberta also uses. Please, my phone is about to die. Let me plug it before the thing called. People, give me 1 second. I'm trying to make sure my phone is plugged. It's about to die. Okay. People still see the screen? The slide is too small. So, okay, I'm sorry that the slide is too small. I'm going to take, like I said, I'm going to put this slide in a Google Drive, and we are going to attach the link to the YouTube video. You are going to get access to the slide. You are going to be able to dissect it by yourself and use it the way you want. So don't worry, I'll be explaining. So I hope that you have Express Entry profile opened. Then we'll do the grid assessment. For the grid assessment, you need 67 points of 100. Remember that for Saskatchewan, you need 69, right? 69 is what they are picking, right? For this one, 67 is, is a good score. What I like about Alberta is that this program, they actually take people with minimum CRS score of 300. Can you believe that? Some of you have done your CRS, you put it on here, you are in like 400, you are complaining. Alberta can consider you if you have CRS score of 300. Isn't that fantastic? That is really fantastic. Another thing to keep in mind is your expert entry profile cannot be less than 3 months to expiration. So you have to make sure that your express entry profile is not about to expire when you're trying to apply for your Alberta PNP program. Then you have to think about, are you working in an occupation that supports Alberta economy development and diversification? So if you are working, Alberta has, just like Saskatchewan, occupation in demand. They have occupations that they are looking for people for. So I will also attach the link where you can check and make sure your occupation is one of those that Alberta is looking for, so that you don't apply to a province that doesn't want you, right? We want to make sure that even if you meet the criteria, does your job fit into the occupation in demand for that province? Please confirm that before we apply. You will get the link, I promise. Then here are the steps to apply for the Alberta Immigration Nominee Program. The first thing you need to do is, I believe you are already in the pool, but you need to do expression of interest in the express entry profile. So under the express entry profile, it asks you, are you exploring the whole of Canada, or you have certain province that you want to go? You need to say that you want to go to Alberta. You express interest under your express entry stream. When you do that, Alberta will receive notification. So Alberta, usually they will send you a notification of interest if they look through your profile and they are doing draw and they feel like your score is over 67 and your job is within their occupation in demand range. Alberta will now they will now give you notification. They'll give you your NOI. So when Alberta sends you that NOI, you must email a copy of your NOI and your express entry number to Alberta within 2 weeks. If you have been selected by Alberta, they've sent you that NOI via email, you need to send back your NOI and your express entry number within 2 weeks. If you don't send it on time, you are going to lose the opportunity. You need to do that. You need to send this over email. So I don't think this is a big deal. This is something that you just type one email and send it. Please don't let it be more than 2 weeks before you send that email. Then the next step is Alberta Express Entry PNP program. It's not something that you can go and Google like Saskatchewan and apply for yourself. Once they receive your email within 2 weeks, they will send you a package. The package will contain the form, the checklist, everything you need to do will come from them via an email. So when you receive this package, you will fill the form, you complete the application, you will mail it to them. This application is a paper-based application. Keep in mind, when they send you that package by email, don't email it back to them. You have to mail it by courier, maybe by EMS or DHL. Please remember that. That application is paper-based. Fill it out, send it to them with everything that they will send to you. They'll tell you the checklist. From that checklist, just look at everything they want, give it to them. You must do this within 30 days. So it's very important that once you calculate your score and you feel like you meet the requirement for Alberta, you're already looking for your money proof. You already have everything that you need, right? So you must make sure you have that when you go and express interest in Alberta, because if they send you a package, you must mail in your application within 30 days. I don't want you to be stressed out running here and there. If you prepare ahead of time, it will help you not have too much stress for your application process. Once you mail this into Alberta province, within 60 days of submission, you will hear back from Alberta. When you hear back from them, they will let you know that you have been accepted to the program, and the process continues, right? You will now get 600 points. 600 points will be added to your express entry profile. That's 600 points. So let's say you are at 307 before because of age and whatnot, or whatever the situation with your IELTS situation. Now, with 600 points added to that, your points will shoot up. So in the next express entry draw round, they are going to be picking you. Isn't that fantastic? Just make sure that, okay, I know you're probably wondering, Dr. Addy, so in the last, hold on, I'm trying to make sure I don't, I'm charging my phone and I'm still trying to talk. So my phone It's hard to navigate. Give me, I changed the slide. So I wanted to talk a bit about, if you are the right person for this, if you feel like I have low CRS score, my CRS score is just too low, I think you should consider, looking at Alberta and following through, to boost your score with Alberta. If you have gone to a Canadian school in Alberta, even if it's not Alberta, any Canadian post-secondary, you can get more points from Alberta. If you have job offer from Alberta or a relative in Alberta, you can get more points. So your points could go in both directions. You can have more points or less points. We don't pray that we have less points, right? But there are some things that you could do that can decrease your chance of getting more points. Some of them are, so if you have been refused, if your occupation is part of the occupation that Alberta said, we don't need you, we have a saturated amount already, you shouldn't consider Alberta. All right, so you want to make sure that, okay, your occupation is not one of those ones that Alberta feel like, yeah, it's already saturated, don't come here. You want to make sure of that. And if you are ineligible for the opportunity stream in Alberta, don't even bother applying. Sorry, a call came in, so don't even bother applying. Well, I think this is it for Alberta, and I want to move on to PEI, Prince Edward Island. Before I move, can I move on? What do you guys think? Before I move on, I want to hear from the audience. Sorry, I'm trying to find the slide new. Audience, do you think I should move on? Okay, so I just got a yes, so I'm going to move on. For Prince Edward Island, which is another province that does not require a job offer, it just requires basic things similar to what we have covered for Saskatchewan and Alberta. Why should you consider Prince Edward Island or not consider Prince Edward Island? If you have tried and you realize that, okay, my occupation is not on demand for Saskatchewan, Alberta has also said that they don't want my occupation. You need to find a place where they want your occupation and does not require a job offer. PEI is another place that you can check because their programs are very similar, and PEI, on the other hand, is a little smaller. PEI is the smallest province we have in Canada, but it has good things. It's very close to water, so they have a lot of seafood. So if you are a fisherman, you like fishing, or there are some things that you can do with port. There are port authorities in that area, so there could be some business opportunities based on what you want to do in PEI. So PEI will not require a job offer. There are 4 different routes if you are trying to move to PEI. The first one is the PEI Express Entry, which I will be focusing on. The second one is the business impact. The third one is the labor impact, and the last one is the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program. The Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program is one thing that I probably will talk about next week. The reason why I didn't talk about this program this week is because it requires a job offer, and a lot of Nigerians are complaining, Africans in general, that they can't find jobs. So I decided to concentrate on programs that does not require job offer this week, right? So we're not going to be talking about the Atlantic Pilot Program. We're going to be only talking about PEI's Express Entry Program. Now, next slide. The next slide is also very, very small, so I'm sorry that I made the slide small. I was thinking your eyes will see it, but things are... So, am I eligible? So, to be eligible for this program, you must meet the following requirements. You must have an Express Entry Program profile already in the poll. It's very similar to Saskatchewan program. It also uses a grid point assessment system, and you should score 67 points out of the 100 points. You use the same matrix to calculate your assessment. Just make sure you have 67. So if you have 67, you should be thinking about Alberta, about PEI as a province that can take you. You still need your ECA. So you would have sent your paper to WES or ICAS, get it regularized, and you have your ECA document, you need to do PNP invitation to apply. So you have to go on the PEI's website, their government website, and hello, sorry, it said I have poor connection. Are you still there, guys? So you need to create an expression of interest profile. So when you create the expression of interest profile, after you have determined that your score is 67 or more, then you do that creation. I want you to start to think about your settlement funds. Settlement funds in this province is smaller. I can say that this is literally maybe the smallest settlement fund. So if you're in the category of, I don't have a lot of money, I still want to move to Canada, the settlement fund in PI is almost the smallest. Most of the Atlantic province, they have very little settlement fund. You have to want to really work in PI for you to kind of want to move there, right? So I'm going to move on. I have other slides that I still have to share. Give me a second. Let me find my next slide. Okay, so how do I apply? How do I apply for this program, right? There is like an express entry guide. I'm going to attach the express entry guide to the YouTube video, so you can click on the guide, but I'm going to walk you through, you know, what is in the guide anyway. Like we talk about, they use a point grid system. The total point is 100. Age covers 20, language covers 20, education covers 15, work experience covers 15, and if you have work experience in PEI, you get 20 points instead of 15. Then adaptability and employment. So if you have adaptability, maybe you have family there and whatnot, then there is 15 points to be grabbed there. Or if you have employment, maybe you have a job offer in there, there is point to be grabbed. So you should be asking me, okay, how do I calculate my own? And now I'm going to go to how you will calculate your own based on where you're at. All right, so this is how to calculate your point. Me too, I have to really expand it to see it. So for education, if you have a master's or PhD, for this one, I want you to write down 15 points. For PEI, master's or PhD is 15 points. I know it's more, I'm sorry. And that's why I'm reading it out. For master's or PhD, 15 points. You don't need a job offer. If you have bachelor's, 12 points. So write down 12 points for if you have a bachelor's. If you have post-secondary, maybe it is journeyman certificate, is 10 points. And apart from that, they don't want anybody who completed secondary school. So if you say I complete secondary school, I'm sorry, PI doesn't want anybody in that category. Second thing is work experience. If you have more than 6 years of work experience and you have no job offer, this is one of the craziest stuff I saw. You have no job offer and then you get more points. So for people with 6 to 10 years of experience, you get 20 points. Write it down. If you have 4 to 6 years of experience, you get 15 points. If you have 2 to 4 years of experience, you get 10 points. If you have 1 to 2 years of experience, you get 5 points. I hope you're writing down your points. So for language ability, if you have CLB 10, CLB 10 is the top of the line, right? If you have CLB 10, you get 20 points. If you have CLB 9, you also get 20 points. So CLB 9 is what you are targeting for the express entry. But if that's what you actually get, that is 20 complete points. For CLB 8, you get 15 points. CLB 7, you get 10 points. CLB 7, 10 points. CLB 8, 15. CLB 9 and 10, 20 points. For adaptability, so if you have family friends, family members living in PEI, you get 5 points. If you have spouse or common law partner in there, you get points. I believe that most people listening to me may not meet this criteria. If you have anybody, maybe somebody you graduated from a school there, you have previously worked there, you have a family member there, your husband lived there, any of those will give you 5 points. 5 points. The maximum that you can get for that category is 15 points. You guys are not giving me any love anymore. I'm sorry that the slides are small. I thought you could read it, but don't worry, you get the slides. You can do your numbering yourself. For employment, so if you have no job offer, you won't get points, right? So, but if you have no job offer in PI, you won't get points. So we'll skip that. For age, if you are within 18 to 24 years, you get hold on, you get 7 points. If you are within 25 to 29 years, you get 20 points. So this province is looking for young people less than 29 years of age. That's why they want to give those people more points. Unlike Saskatchewan started from 22 to 35. They give them the same points. PEI 29 to 25 gets the highest point. 30 to 44 gets 15 points. 25 to 49 gets 10 points. And if you are over 49, you get 0 points. So 25 to 29 gets 20. 30 to 44, 15. 45 to 49, 10 points. Now, what is your final score? Anybody calculated it? So if your final score is over 67, if you have final score over 67, this is a good province that you may consider for relocation. And I want you to think it through. So you need to also check what type of job are they looking for. Is my NOC, is my job under the ones they said they want or they don't want? But I think this province is a little more lenient with the type of job they don't want. So it's a province that you can consider. If every province has rejected you, Saskatchewan said we don't want you, Alberta said you don't want you, it's most likely that PEI may not have a lot of restrictions. So you want to check to make sure you get in. The fourth one, I won't go into details about it today, that I could have talked about, is the Quebec one. So I'm not going to go into details because I believe most people listening to me today are not French speakers. If you are, so the program for Quebec is also like all this other provincial nominee. It uses the point system of 100. But instead of English as the language of proficiency that is being checked, is French. They prioritize French over English. So if you speak French accurately, maybe you are from Cameroon, or you have actually studied French, or you have lived in Paris for like 2 years or something like that, you can consider the Quebec program. Is a little easier, it's fast also. Most of all the different nominee programs that I've talked about today, most of them, within 6 months, you will really know where you're going. If that nominee program is attached to your express entry, within 6 months, you really can know where you are going. If you do the provincial nominee program for express entry for these 4 provinces that I just talked about. I did not talk about Nova Scotia today. I'm sorry about that, but the program is still quite similar, okay? So before we close, I want to take your questions. I want to select questions. There is a question box here, and I saw that some people have dropped their questions in the question box. If you drop your questions in the question box, I'm going to be taking those questions, answer questions for the next 10 minutes, and then I'm going to do a vote of thanks. We're going to talk about next week's session for who we are bringing and what we will be talking about, and we're going to close. So now, if you have not dropped your question in the question box, please drop your question, because I'm not taking question from the screen. I'm going to be taking from the question box. I just joined a few minutes ago. Okay. How do I research out these jobs that are in demand? So, okay, I'm going to be, for that, I'm going to attach a link. Like I said, you all are going to get my slides, and there will be links that you can click for you to know which jobs are on demand, which jobs are exception that they don't want anymore. You'll get the slides to be able to get that information. Would there be a summary afterwards? There's going to be a YouTube video. So somebody has volunteered to help us edit this and put this in a YouTube video. That's what you're gonna get, the YouTube video. Sorry about that. I already spent so many hours putting this information together for you guys. I wanted it to be detailed and explicit so people don't say, well, it's half information. I feel like today there are some things that you couldn't find on YouTube that you heard about today. I could tweet a bit about them after the conversation, but I may not be able to give the full summary. A little light on the opportunity stream, please. I'm not going to talk about the opportunity streams today, because next week we are going to be talking about the streams that require job offers, and opportunity stream may fall under that category. What about caregivers? What are opportunity available? Maybe when you come next week, where we'll be talking about the ones that require that you have a job offer. The caregivers are one of those categories. So you will hear more about the caregivers category next week. So I studied building. Which province is advisable? My suggestion to you is look at the document that I'm going to share with you. I want you to review it. Look at which province it says building engineering is an occupation in demand. Once you find that, that is the one you want to apply to. Unfortunately, I don't know that on top of my head because that's not what I studied. So you have to do this research. As you know, it's DIY. Do it yourself. What if you have both BSc and OND? If you have both BSc and OND, you should be using your highest level of education. So you want to use your BSc. You don't want to use your OND. Highest level of education is what you should use. If you have 2 masters and you have a PhD, you are definitely using your PhD as your highest level of education because that's what will give you more points. In some applications like Saskatchewan and whatnot, for PhD you could get more points. For other places, masters and PhD oftentimes get the same points. I now have 99 questions. Oh, hey, I want to do a question. God help me. Please, which category can HND holder be categorized under? So I think I have talked through this, Omobi talked through this earlier, that, and Joy. HND, in fact, when you are doing your assessment, if you have used your CRS tool, if you use the CRS tool, you will realize that under the CRS tool, there's a category of, do you have a degree, one certificate that is more than 3 years? That's BSc. The next one is talking about, do you have 2 certificates where both of them have minimum of 2 years, which gives you more points? What I'm trying to say is, under this express entry category, having HND may give you more points than a BSc. Canada seems to pay a little more value on your HND because you did ND, you did HND, and you also did do like attachment, right? I think you will get more points as an HND. So why am I flogging this? Because I feel like HND people just have a little low, lower self-esteem. They feel like their degree is not good enough. For Canada, is actually very, very good. So please do your CRS tool evaluation to understand with your HND how many points do you get. But HND, I cannot overestimate the fact that it is good. It is good. Stop beating yourself up for that. Okay, so more questions. Let's see what other questions we have. For those of us who are under 25 years of age, no relevant work experience. So if you are under 25 years of age, you have to calculate this using CRS tool. With your age, do you have work experience? And what is your highest level of education? Are you single? Are you married? All of these are things you should calculate to know what is your CRS score. You need to use, if you go on my Twitter, you will see the CRS tool there that I tweeted actually twice. So please go and do your evaluation, self-evaluate yourself, and let us know what is your score. Because that's, you know, it's not a thing of, oh, I am 27, I'm 25. You need to calculate it and know what your potential CRS score is. What is my chance if I studied forestry and wildlife? In this part of the world, with a degree in forestry and wildlife, you can become an environmental scientist. You can become an horticulturist. You can become a lot of different things, right? So you should never feel like what you have studied is meaningless or is not good and stuff like that. You can apply for school. You can do master's or PhD. With that degree, there is opportunity for you. I want to stress that in Saskatchewan, so I lived in Saskatchewan for, hold on, I wanna hold on, guys. I'm trying to remove the slide because we don't need it anymore, and put up my face so you can see me properly. All right, great. So I was saying that I schooled in Saskatchewan for 4.5 years. Saskatchewan is rich in agriculture. The work that Saskatchewan thrive in, is like their own mineral resources. Agriculture is their own mineral resources. So if you have studied something like forestry, you have studied something like agriculture, you are feeling like because Nigeria is not really booming for agriculture, that maybe you are not doing great. Saskatchewan is a good province to consider for anyone who wants to study environmental science, environmental engineering, food security, agriculture, agriculture, anything in that agric engineering, agric econs, you should be looking at University of Saskatchewan. For province to reside, for more job opportunities, if you have studied horticulture, agriculture, forestry, botany, all of these, province that will make you prosperous is Saskatchewan. Look at Saskatchewan. If you are studying anything, petroleum engineering, electrical engineering, all of this, mining. So, okay, let's talk about mining. If you study mining, Saskatchewan has uranium. They have a lot, they have potash, they have a lot of things. So for people who have mining, Saskatchewan could be a very prosperous province for you if they are not saturated. If the province is still collecting mining engineers and all of that, you will get good jobs in Saskatchewan because it is rich in that mineral resources. If you are somebody who has studied petroleum engineering, geoscience, geology, geo, all these things that are related to the oil and gas industry, Alberta is the hub of oil and gas business in Canada. If you have studied geochemistry, all of this, anything oil related, anything that you can do with engineering-ish, look at Alberta. Alberta is a prosperous oil and gas hub of Canada. It is literally maybe our richest province. If you are in manufacturing, so you have studied elect, you have studied so all these different manufacturing stuff, biotechnology, biomedical, you want to look at Ontario. You'll be prosperous in Ontario because that is the hub of manufacturing. That is where we manufacture a lot of different things. If you have studied aerospace engineering, you want to look at Quebec and Ontario. Anything with flights and all of that is in those two provinces where those things are happening. So depending on the provinces, you don't just want to come to Canada alone. So if you have multiple provinces that can take you, you realize Saskatchewan can take you, Alberta can take you, PI can take you, Nova Scotia can take you. You need to think, based on the job that I have, which province is going to make me prosperous? Which province will I get jobs easily? Which province will I get promotions easily? Then choose based on some of these tips that I offer. Somebody is asking for software engineering. For software engineering, if you're doing anything computer, tech, you want to look at British Columbia and Ontario. British Columbia is really thriving a whole lot when it comes to tech. Ontario, as in what we call Waterloo, where we used to have BlackBerry, they are building that city into a mini Silicon Valley. They want to connect Waterloo and downtown Toronto and make that the hub of tech for Canada. So if you're a tech person, Ontario may be the right place for you, or British Columbia, because there's a lot of tech development currently happening in those two provinces at the moment. If you have a chance to go to any province in Canada, you need to really think, based on your profession, where will you thrive? Where can you have a good life? Where won't you have to look for a job? Where can you network and be a strong professional? Choose that, and hopefully that will be the right place that you will go. I feel like I don't have too much time anymore. I have 8 more minutes, and I'm sorry that I can't take all your questions. A lot of you now follow me on Twitter. I'm a shy person. Usually when I do an interactive session like this, I'm so scared, I'm worried, but I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for staying with me for almost 3 hours, and I hope that these sessions have blessed you. Keep following me, recommend me to people. If there are places where I can share my knowledge, I'm a typical Nigerian. I grew up in Mokola, Ibadan. I used to hawk pepper. I will write my story on Twitter. We broke Twitter, entire 3 years ago. I used to hawk pepper in Mokola, and look at me today. I have a PhD. I was the first Black person to get a PhD in biomedical engineering from University of Saskatchewan. From selling pepper in Mokola to moving to Finland to go and do school there for 4.5 years and be hustling, to Canada, and I now live in the US. I'm here. The company I work for, they brought me here from Canada to come and work because of my expertise. A girl from nowhere. If God can bring me this far, if hard work can bring me this far, if resilience can bring me this far, I believe in you. I believe you can go far. Nigeria may be tough today. Things may be really bad. Your parents may not have money. They may be like my parents. Maybe they didn't go to school. You don't have access to a lot of things. I want you to take the information you got for the last 3 hours. I want you to utilize it. I want you to take it serious, because this can be the path that you have been looking for. This can take you to the next level of your life. I believe in you. The world is waiting waiting for you to manifest. I believe your own story too can break Twitter. It doesn't matter what you're going through. You may be crying. You may not have food tonight. You may even be sleeping outside tonight, maybe because you don't have anything. But I believe in you. The certificate that you went to school for, it is worth a lot in other parts of the world. I want to encourage you, no matter what the situation is where you are, just hug yourself. Just make sure every information that I will share with you, please, I'm begging you. I took 3 days to prepare this for you, and I really hope that it blesses you. I hope that everything that you do, that the Lord will bless it. I hope that the Lord that opened doors for me. Last year, Nigerian government invited me to come back to Nigeria to come and have education reform discussion. I could not believe it. Omo Yalata, the pepper seller, being invited by the federal government of Nigeria to come back home from the US. If that happened to me, why can't it happen to you? Why? My father does not know anybody. Nigerian government, they sent placard to my office, say they are summoning you to come back home, to come and talk about 3D printing and Industry 4.0. If that happens to me, it can happen to you. Don't give up on that dream. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Yes, the process is long. Try. Money is a problem, right? You've seen everything we need to come to Canada. There's a lot of money, right? I shared a couple of days on Twitter. Try to find remote work. Try to find remote work to start to save up. We've talked about tips for you on how to use your dad or your uncle. Try to find that money. Let it just, if somebody is going to borrow you, if you are going to borrow money, borrow it. You will pay back. 2 years later, you will pay back. I believe in you. God bless you. Thank you for staying with me. Please come back next week. We'll have Tunde Tash. Is going to tell you if all of the opportunities we share today is not useful for you. Maybe you need a job offer in Canada for your case to be settled. Tunde will walk you through the process next week. And I will also share how I did 3,000 applications and ended up getting a job. Next week, Friday, same time. I love you very much. I believe in you. I'm doing this because I love Nigeria. Not because I don't love it. I love Nigeria. That's why I want more Nigerians to succeed. So every day I represent Nigeria. And that's why I'm doing this. Have a good evening. God bless you. And this is goodbye until next week. This is Dr. Adiola, and this is Quarantine with Dr. Addy. Bye for now.